Welcome aboard. Super Bowl 60 week. And also, 8 years ago today, the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Why is that significant to me? Told you I don't really I cover your team. I'm not necessarily a guy who's passionate about your team. I do love everything that you guys do. But what's significant about today? 8 years ago, you win the Super Bowl. Big day in the history of Philadelphia Eagles sports. Anybody know? Let's go, Eagle fans. What's February 4th? Great day in Eagle history. You're celebrating your very first Super Bowl win. What else matters to me? And it's a day for me that I talk about all the time. Give you about a minute. Come on, Eagle fans. Enlighten me. Frank Wright going to the Jets as an OC. We'll hit on that. I'll give you the background on that. Anybody? By the way, super chats, go to the top. And also, please do me a favor. Hit the like button. What today is significant in Philadelphia Eagle history? Anybody? All right. Well, today's the day that my friend Jerome Brown, this would have been his 60th birthday. And 60 years old he would have been. Learned so many things from that guy. Proud to have been his friend. One of the great Eagle players in history. Today's Jerome Brown's birthday on the day you won your first Super Bowl. I never forget his day. Zander bought me that. There you go. That jersey right there. Zander bought me that and gave me that. I hang it proudly. One of the most iconic men in Eagle history. I mean, the impact he made on your football team and on your city is still felt today. I don't know how many 99 jerseys I still see in the stands, whether it's at SoFi Stadium or it's in San Francisco or it's in New York. I see Jerome Brown uniforms. I mean, right? Seals, I keep eye on this kid, TJ Parker. He was supposed to be a top 10 pick for Clemson. Just had a bad year. Okay, will do, Kyle. Thank you. Me and Jerome birthday on the same week. Let's go. Like it. I thought I'd open the show out with you there. With the fact that Jerome Brown would have been 60 years old today. He'd have been the Charles Barkley. Okay? He'd have been the Charles Barkley of football. I'll take Jerome over Tom Brady any day. Just, I've told you the stories before. No need to go back over them again. But rest in peace, my friend. Rest in peace on the day the Philadelphia Eagles win their very first Super Bowl. Of course, how ironic that it's on Jerome's birthday that you win the Super Bowl, your very first. Right? I don't think you can I don't think it was by coincidence he became a Philadelphia Eagle. I told you, Norman Brayman said it years ago when he used to come to our practices at Miami. And I posted a little collage on my X account that, Jerome, you're going to be an Eagle. Okay? Okay? So, never forget the guy. Irony. Huh, Abe? Irony. No coincidence in life. Jerome is an Eagle, man. He's two things. He's a great man, he's a Cane, and he's an Eagle. And that will never change. I only have three: Jerome, White, and Randall. Yeah? Who would be my Mount Rushmore of Philadelphia Eagles? Let me think. Jerome, Reggie, Westbrook. This is probably going to shock. This is my personal. Not who I think should be, but me personally. Here's my favorite. Oh, by the way, they signed that board back there for me, that Golf Classic board. It would be Reggie, Jerome, Westbrook, and Andre Waters. That's who'd be my four. Those would be my Mount Rushmore of my favorite Eagles. I got to put Andre Waters. I love Eric Allen. We're friends. But I love Andre Waters, dude. Andre Waters was a bad dude, man. I mean, Andre Waters was your Jack Tatum. Okay? He was your Jack Tatum. So I'm going Andre Waters. Yeah, he signed that for me back. I was great friends with Andre. Andre would come into my studio in Tampa, my radio show, because he lived down there in Tampa. And, man, he and I used to just chop it up, man, and talk football. And he was such a good dude. I really enjoyed being around him. Why don't you love McNabb? I'll tell you what, McNabb was a great football player. I just never really ever thought that he was a great leader. I never really thought that he was that dude. All right, so let's get into it. So rest in peace, Jerome. Today was your birthday, your 60th birthday. I wanted to get that out of the way. Also, we'll talk a little more about what that day meant to you guys. 8 years ago today, the Philadelphia Eagles would win their Super Bowl and their very first one. We'll do that. We're going to also talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. Obviously, they got wild things going on now at Media Row. That's what it's called. It's not like Radio Row anymore. It's called Media Row. And so, like, you know, it's between San Jose. San Jose is like down here. And like San Francisco is like way up here. And I'm telling you, with the traffic, I can't tell you how many times when we lived in the Bay Area, my wife and I, that we would be on the Bay Bridge and you'd shut your car off because you're going to sit there for about 2 hours because of the traffic. I mean, that's not that easy of a place to get around. And so now you're going from one place, and that's about an hour and 25, 30 minutes to get down to San Jose. That's not that easy. So what they've done is they've made it almost impossible to really kind of to cover the Super Bowl. It's usually at the Marconi Center because the last time the Super Bowl was there, my wife actually worked my show when I was still doing radio at the Mighty 1090 in Southern California. We went up to the Super Bowl. My wife was my producer there, and it was at the Marconi Center. Now they've got it spread over. Like they got it in San Fran, and they got it now down at the San Jose Convention Center. That's a far, far drive. In that part of the country. I'm telling you. I mean, that's about an hour and 35 minutes just to drive alone. That counting the traffic. Absolutely. Happy heavenly birthday to Jerome. Thank you, guys. All good. All right. So I'm going to go here with this. I'm going to start it out here. And I want to give you, and I want to start the show out here. How many people believe that the Eagles will be a Super Bowl contender in 26? Are you going to be, do you believe that this team right now, on all the conversations, or it's still too, hey, you can give me this, still too early. Because look, Sills, but remember too, you're getting a first place schedule. It's not like you're going to be the Lions and you're going to get a last place schedule. Do you believe that this team is going to be a Super Bowl contender in 2026? If you trade AJ, yes. If you trade AJ, it's an emphatic no. If they do well in September, there's a chance. Wait a minute. You did well in September this last year. Weren't you undefeated? Trade AJ for a second? Yes. A second-round pick's not going to help this football team be a Super Bowl contender. That's insane. I just don't know, Sills. I want to be optimistic, but I'm unsure. Listen, this is not going to be a rip topic. I'm not ripping anybody. Only if the O-line gets healthy. I don't believe the left guard's going to be ever healthy ever again. 13 surgeries. I don't believe Landon Dickerson is going to be a Pro Bowl guard again. He may prove me wrong this upcoming year. Remember I said that on February 4th? I do not believe that Landon Dickerson is going to return back to what? Better health? Based on what? A 14th surgery? 13 surgeries. We're getting to the point where you got not only have to think about replacing the right tackle, you're in a place now where you may have to replace the left guard. Playoff contender, yes. I may go there. Super Bowl contender, no. I think the NFC will be way more competitive. I do too. That's kind of why I think, hey, listen, I thought you were going to be in a position to do something this coming season, because how many people remember this? I asked you this question. By the way, guys, please hit the like button. Appreciate you guys being here. You tell me. Remember I asked you this topic question? Every single one of you almost said no to this topic. And I asked it, and I kept asking it. Okay? Do you believe Howie Roseman mortgaged the 2025 season for 26 and 27? You know what you guys said? No. Well, you did. We brought up all those signings. Only 2 of the signings a year ago that Howie had mattered. Only 2. And the offense regressed. Howie Roseman didn't have a good year either. Nobody in the organization did. The head coach, the coordinator, the quarterback, nobody did. You know, really, the only guy that had a great year was Vic Fangio. The only one. Hell no, unless we get some brains on offense. Marsh, I'm going to ask you a question here in a second. Seals, I feel like he's mortgaging this season. Look at the clues. There you go, Abe. You're thinking like, and you know the show now. Abe, is he doing it again? Is he mortgaging the future again for another year? Because I'm going to show you what he did. And I heard Zander say this, and I had to go and look. Because I couldn't believe what Milton Williams said. So let me go here. Milton Williams was never offered a contract. So John was pushing back today. I don't give a shit what John says. You don't make a guy that you drafted even a low ball offer. You don't even try to work the so-called Howie Roseman magic to try to keep the guy. Milton Williams said he was never even spoken to. You let the best defensive tackle that you had and the best defensive lineman off your team of the Super Bowl year walk under the assumption You thought it was you. And you thought it was Vic on why the player was so good. I remember Zander saying this. Hey, Jalen Carter Milton Williams benefited from playing next to him. Well, that wasn't the case. Jalen Carter benefited playing next to Milton Williams. That's how that looks now, does it not? That Milton Williams was the reason Carter played well in 24. I don't give a shit how you slice that up. What was the one thing that was missing in 2024? Milton Williams. You know, everybody last offseason said, well, Josh Sweat and Milton Williams benefited from playing next to Jalen Carter. That turned out to be not true. Wait a minute. Lie again? How's that a lie? Jalen Carter played like shit this year. Jalen Carter didn't outplay Milton Williams. Milton Williams wasn't playing next to, nor Josh Sweat had a great year. You're making it sound like Carter had some sort of superstar year. You had no pass rush whatsoever until you got Jalen Phillips. A lie? Bro, you don't want to hear the truth again. He had surgery. There you go. Let's start piling on the shitty excuses again. Right? He got hurt again. Milton got hurt too. Hey, Milton got hurt. That's right. He got hurt too. So don't use that shit on me about Milton he got hurt too. Carter was always double teamed. Well, as I told you, did you think that Jalen Carter was going to see less double teams if you got rid of Milton? Or more? You know what you guys said? Less. I was like, really? Based on what? Based on what? Milton missed 5 games. Double check that. Milton missed 5, I believe. Let's see here. Teams. Milton Williams. He never was even talked to. He was never even spoken to. So Milton. 5 games. Didn't miss 7. Lie. That's a lie. Dan the man, tell him. So, hey, did Milton have surgery? There you go. Surgeries that made no impact. He didn't have a surgery. He had a procedure. Jalen Carter did not have surgery. It's a procedure. Wrong. That's a lie. Wasn't. So Milton Williams, a Hall of Famer now. No. There you go, guy. Hey, RC, you did not talk to that guy because Howie mortgaged the future. You told me can't sign everybody. So you got to mortgage the future. It's what you did. You mortgaged the future by not signing Sweat and Milton because what you guys tell me, as John says too, you can't sign everybody. So you're wrong. They did. They mortgaged the future, and 26 and 27 has to be Super Bowl contending years. You guys just got through telling me you don't believe they are. So how's Howie doing as a GM? Still a lot of time. Well, kind of. Free agency starts on the 11th. Then you got the 23rd draft. And free agency, depending on what you do here. I say this is a massive offseason to continue what you think is a Super Bowl window if you think you have one. I kind of think there's one, but I think you got a lot of steps here to try to figure out whether or not you really do have one. We're Mannion won't be gone so fast if things go south. They're looking ahead at the future, preparing for the next regime. I don't believe that. I don't believe that's how they operate. Kimbo, I don't. I don't believe that. I give Carter one more year to impress me or see you later. He couldn't do a push-up because of his shoulders. He better be in shape and play well in 26, Mikey. You see my Pro Bowl quarterback yesterday? No, I think that's a perfect league for him. Flag football. You can probably make all the reads in flag football. Congratulations, Jalen. Way to lead that comeback in flag football. You don't have anybody over the middle of the field. You don't have anybody to worry about. You don't have anybody in front of you. That's a perfect league for Hurts. Flag football. He should be a star in that Olympic Games. I wouldn't doubt if Jalen Hurts would be the star in the flag football in the Olympic Games. Perfect for him. Hey, you don't have to read defenses. You just throw to dudes. It's great. You can run around, do everything. He's made for flag football. Absolutely perfect. You bet there, Freddie. You put that there right on Hurts, man. What a comeback victory in flag football. I can't be more proud of him. I didn't see it because I don't watch shit like that. But, hey, I'm glad you guys were watching flag football. I did say flag, right? Okay, flag football. How you doing? Couldn't watch it. Really, what gave that away? What? Let me guess. The no-hitting? So we act like Milton would have made a difference on the outcome of this year. The issue was not on defense. It was on offense. You don't think that he would be an impact in your run game? Dude, you were 20th in running in run defense or 17th in run defense. So you think Milton Williams wouldn't have made a difference? Well, then I'll tell you what. Okay, Gabe, if your problems aren't on defense, you got bigger problems than you think. You're hoping. There's that strategy word the Eagle fans like. Hope that they get healthy? Okay. I heard he was dancing. Now, I don't know. I don't really watch flag football, dude. That's not. I like sports people get hit in. Who the hell watches the Pro Bowl anyway? I don't know, man. Hey, go, Gabe. Boy must. Hey, if somebody told me Jalen Hurts excelled in the flag football, I'd be like, yeah, I bet. I bet he was a star in it. This year, if you took more than 2 snaps, you qualified for the Pro Bowl. I know. Hey, you know the Pro Bowl, and you guys have won me over on this. Okay? Hey, if Justin Fields is turning the Pro Bowl down, I don't know. Now that I'm going to agree with M. Reyes. He's just barking all kinds of bullshit. But this one here, Puppy Bowl, absolutely is a must-watch. I'm in on that. I watch that. Anyone with a sense of decline the invitation. Yeah, well, if I had $500,000 in my contract based on a Pro Bowl, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I'm passing that up. Anyone who watches the Pro Bowl has no life. Flag football. Dude, they're selling flag football with that and using the players for a reason. You're going to have a flag football team in Philadelphia. You know that, right? Jeffrey Lurie's going to have a flag football team for you guys to go to over at the new ballpark when you get that dome built and you knock down Lincoln Financial. Milton played better than Jalen. Facts. I had the feeling our Super Bowl window's closed. O-line, AJ gone, and Jalen Carter a headache. Off the field, injury. German, appreciate you. He actually is watching from Germany, too. Shit, the combine's better. There you go. It is better. It is better. Sills, Reggie loved Jerome. Were you tight with the minister of the defense? Not super tight, but knew him really well. I was really tight with Keith Jackson, the tight end you guys had. And obviously, too, Keith Byers. You guys know I'm very close with Keith Byers. Who else? Unless I'm paying Seth money, not friends with him. So I didn't realize that, JAKIB had to pay him to be his friend. So, I kind of thought we were friends, but I kind of think we probably are a little bit. But, other than that, I don't know. So if Jacob starts paying him again, I'm sure we'll be friends. But I don't know. I mean, I thought we were good, but it's all good. Sills, these are the guys going top 5. Mendoza, Reese, Bain, Tate, Magala, and Fano. Yes, I agree. Super Bowl MVP. He made records. You're hating on Jalen. I don't hate Jalen Hurts. Why would I hate somebody I don't know? What do you think? I'm people who watch the news? I don't hate people I don't know, guy. I don't. Listen here. I've never had a problem. I'm good. Fairy tale shit, fake news. Seals, to be fair, the Eagles, and by the way, thank you, WIP. Seals, to be fair, the Eagles don't really have to do a whole lot on defensive side. Get a better cornerback opposite that side. Milton, over under 1.5 sacks. I got it down here. Here's my potential MVPs of the Super Bowl. You ready? Sam Darnold, JSN, Stephon Diggs, or Milton Williams. Those are my guys. Those are my guys. Yeah, so I couldn't believe it. What I was, Milton Williams said he was never offered a contract by Howie. Like ever. They never spoke. They never spoke. And I heard John this morning saying, well, they knew they were never going to compete for $26 million. Okay. So then how are you going to keep Jalen Phillips and pay him $25 million? So $20 million, you're not keeping him then. Correct? Are you really going to pay Jordan Davis the same amount of money that you would pay Milton? Or no? What is that going to come in at? You're paying him right now, what? 11.5 on the 5th-year option? So what will you pay him? 19 million? Would you really you'd rather pay Davis 19 million than pay Jalen Phillips 20, 22, right? Because you feel in Vic's defense, who won't be here after next year, you feel that he's instrumental. Boy, is that a gamble. That's a gamble that Davis is going to duplicate what he did this last year. By the way, do me a favor, Kyle, I need your help. How many snaps did he take this year? Jordan Davis. I think he took a ton of snaps, no? So you're not paying Phillips more than 16, all right? So that means then you let Sweat leave for 19. You're paying Phillips less than what you let Sweat walk out the building. I'm trying to figure out your Super Bowl window here. This is where this exercise is going. I'm trying to figure out how long you think, or if you think you have one. If you lose AJ and Lane, or a combination of AJ and Goddard, you don't have a Super Bowl contending team. Sills, best block I ever saw was Byers on Pepper Johnson. They were boys at Ohio State. Yeah, Pepper played for Parcells with the Giants. So there's no Super Bowl window. It's slammed shut already. Then what are we doing here? We're going to be a joke next year too. Not a joke. Not a joke. I want to know what we get for AJ. Okay? 2 and a 5. You don't know what he commands and you don't know what teams will do to get him. He's a 2 and a 5. If you were going to get the most for him, you were going to get it at the trading deadline, not in the offseason. There's going to be more teams vying for it. More people are going to look at him and say he's a second rounder based on what the offense did, not by what he may have left. You know, guys like M. Reyes, every time I bring up stats and numbers, this is where it affects a player's trade value. You know all those stats that you guys give me shit for? This is where it diminishes you in trade value. All those stats, Sue. Because they're going to look at his numbers and go, I'm not giving you a first rounder. His numbers are gone backwards. So all those things that you guys were telling me about numbers, you know what a general manager is going to do to Howie? A general manager is going to go like this. Well, he's regressed. I'll give you a 2 and a 5 for him. I'm not giving you a first-round draft choice for that guy. He barely had 1,000 yards. And the other guy had more yards anyway. Devontae Smith. I'm not giving you that. Plus, he bitches and moans. Here's a second, maybe a third. And a third and a 4. And he makes a boatload of dough. And get this, the Eagles are not going to be able to use that first-round pick this year because why? Because, men, remember what I told you. You have to, when you post-date, you got to carry that all the way through. You don't get the latitude of going, hey, that means I get a 1 in 26. No, it doesn't. You get the 1 in the following draft. Do you think Clint will be tutored by Vic in 26 to take over the job? I think that's what they're going to hope for. I'll tell you this. Here's one thing about Clint. Clint turned that job down, that Miami Dolphin job. It's not public, but he did turn that job down. There's a reason he turned that job down. Okay? He turned that job down because he was, again, getting opportunities to be and stay in Philadelphia. Get this. If people believe the BS, they'd give him an he's worth and they'd say you don't have to deal with Hurts anymore. Get this. That's not what they're going to deal with him when they're trading for him. They're going to look at his numbers. The last 2 years have gone down. And they're going down, and their targets are going down for a reason. And by the way, you think the Eagles are going to be kind with him exiting on what it means? You know what they're going to do. They're going to tar and feather the guy. They're going to make it sound like we needed to move on from the player because of his attitude and his lack of effort. You think that's going to give trade value? Quite frankly, what the Eagles have done, if they wanted to move from A.J. Brown, just with the lack of production compared to what he did his first 2 years, they've diminished his trade value in the last year. If they even wanted to get rid of him, they're never going to get the value for the player back. So what? You're going to get a first round, and if you're a good team, you're going to finish 24th or 25th. You're going to get the 25th pick, you thought, but you're going to get the 25th pick in the second round. You're going to get like the 68th, 69th pick for this guy the following year. The return on investment is not worth it. I hate to break it to you, but Boat's on a rookie deal is a better value than Brown. Dude, A.J. Brown's not a good value right now. If A.J. gets traded, it'll be to a shit team anyway. Why would Howie send him to a team for a terrible pick? Okay? He wouldn't. I wouldn't either. Shit, I want to send him to Cleveland. I'd send him to the Browns. I'm not sending him to New England unless there's a 3-team deal with it. And by the way, his value is not that big. You think his value at 28, 29 years old with diminishing numbers, you think that's going to how about this? The last 2 years, he hasn't helped the passing game at all. German, thank you. So it's off topic. But why are you commenting on the Eagles? You're not an Eagle fan, are you? No, I'm a massive Eagle fan. I like how you guys have a great passion for the team. As a matter of fact, I think the Philadelphia Eagles are one of the great teams to cover. I'd be interested to know how you ended up here. Very simple. Joe Krause and myself and Zander and everybody wanted to put the show on, and here we are. And to me, just like when I was covering the Dallas Cowboys, or I was covering the San Francisco Giants, or I was covering the New York Giants, or I was covering the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You bring me in, I'm going to cover your football team. And I'm going to cover your football team with the best of my ability. And I'm going to cover your baseball team. And I'm going to cover all of that when I was doing traditional sports talk. That's what I do. Unlike the local guys who get regurgitated every single job, they get fired, they get hired, they get fired, they get hired, they get fired, they get hired. They don't get any better. The people in the city, that Philadelphia, make the content move. The team is the vehicle, obviously, but it's the fans that make that shit move. That's why you can have guys get blown out, hired, blown out, hired, blown out, hired. It's the same crew. How many times in your city have the same people been fired and hired? I mean, go down the list. Look at every radio show. They've worked at 97.5 or they've worked at WIP. You think they got better? They get better. Fire this Martz. Fire this guy. Hire this guy. Fire that guy. They never bring new views and new voices in. That's why it sounds like the same old shit. It's the same old shit. Just a different shift. That's why. It's the same stuff. Guy gets fired, he gets hired over here. Guy gets fired over here, he gets back over there. He's over here, back over there. It's the same. It's almost like the hiring process of the NFL. Matt Nagy. Oh, I'm going to hire him over here. I'm going to hire him over here. I'm going to hire him over here. It's the same stuff. Eagles should call AJ's bluff. If he wants out, tell him to redo his contract in the Eagles' favor. Yeah. Well, I don't think his agent's going to be going on that lane. Okay? Let's see here. Sills, how many Coronas do all these super chats buy you in a football Friday? I'd say about good 24. How you doing? So you think Vrabel won't deal AJ for the 31st pick, especially if they lose the Super Bowl? Why would the Eagles? Would they get any better than that? So you're saying that and they got cap room. Would the Patriots overpay for AJ? 31st pick is like the second round. Maybe. He might do that. It's not a bad thought. Why would Vrabel want a effing cancer, an egomaniac, and A.J. Brown? Whoever said that's fucking stupid. Well, he's got one right now in Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs is more of a nightmare than A.J. is. I'll take 10 A.J. Browns compared to Stephon Diggs. Right? I mean, Stephon Diggs is on that football team. Guy's a complete asshole. But he's got him on that team. So A.J. Brown? I don't think A.J. Brown. By the way, I don't think hiring a 33-year-old OC is going to be a convincing factor here. So as I stumbled on this show 6 months ago, and boy, I'm glad I did. You're great. Whatever you do, thanks. Mr. Hill, thank you very much, and we appreciate you. Awesome, man. I would have expected anything else from you. Great to have you here. Don't change. Thank you very much, German. I'll tell you what I am finding out, though. I do enjoy covering the team. German, I can't be authentic and say, hey, I grew up being an Eagle fan. Nobody in here would believe that. You would think I was Bill Polian. Hey, I was an Eagle fan when I grew up. Would you want me to say that? That's not true. So I got to be truthful, don't I? But I tell you what I do and have become. Over 5 years, I've enjoyed covering them. There is no doubt of all the teams I've covered over the years, by far one of the greatest teams I've ever covered. That's truth. The fans are sick cool. Okay? And I'm starting to enjoy covering. I enjoy covering the team. I do most of my posting about the Eagles on my X account. I saw a video of Rich Gannon in San Francisco for the Super Bowl, John Gruden. How good was Gannon with the Raiders? Won the MVP award. Let's see here. I've been watching daily since 22. Sill's hilarious. Thank you, Sue. Thank you very much. Hey, Sue, I'm all shaved up now, trying to look younger. Zander told me I was old. Yeah. We enjoy you covering the team. Absolutely, man. Thank you very much. All good. Yeah. So I shaved. I got another guy, though. But no, it wasn't just him. I had another guy tell me, too. Yeah, get a razor and, just clean yourself up. And I'm like, what? These people, man. Then I got to, collar and, suck it in a little. Got to look like a model. Yeah. How's Jalen? Hey, I'll tell you. What's this? Look at Smitty stats the last 3 years. They're common. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Listen, what's his name? Statistics. Devontae Smith statistics. I think they're okay. Hey, for a number 2, I think they're great, actually. So I'll take that back. For a 2, getting 1,000 yards, I think that's great. I do. I think it's great. Dude, so again, your Super Bowl window, do you believe you're a contender in 26? Here's who I think the contenders are. By the way, this is going to change. So this is moving. But here's who I tell you I think the contenders are coming up next year. Okay? Here's who I would say. Contenders for the Super Bowl. I'll say New England. Bills. I don't know about the Ravens. And I'm tired of the Bengals. The Ravens and the Bengals, I'm out on. Okay? I'm out on them. New coach, new coordinators in Baltimore, I'm out. You're going to have to show me more that. And the Bengals, I'm sick of talking about this. Hey, Joe Burrow's really great. But yeah, the defense blows. Well, they're doing nothing to improve the defense. And I doubt they will because they don't spend any money. So I'm out on Joe Burrow's team. Joe Burrow's a great player. But I don't believe that. Super Bowl contender. I think the Jags will be. The Texans? Not with Stroud. The Colts? I don't think so. The Broncos? Yes. Chargers? Yes. Chiefs? Yes. Raiders? No. I'm going to put the Eagles over to the left here. Cowboys. I'm going to ask, by the way, Battle Royale today, I'm going to ask Mark Holmes that. Do you think you'll be a Super Bowl contender in 26? I don't think so. Commanders, no. Bears? I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender. You can't play the way they played with all those one-score games and all those maniac plays. I don't believe they're a Super Bowl contender right now. Packers, I do. Minnesota, I don't. The Lions, I do. There's more teams this year are coming up 26. Carolina, no. Bucks, no. Atlanta, no. Saints, no. Now, remember, there's always a worst to first story. Somebody's going to be a worst to first. It could be the Giants. Seahawks, yes. Rams, yes. 49ers, yes. I think the 49ers, I think the San Francisco 49ers are going to be back in that conversation too. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And if you count the Eagles, that's 12 teams that are going to be Super Bowl contenders. Cowboys, maybe. They may be them or the Giants. Stay as you are. I expect you to speak your mind, even if it's not what I want to hear. I think that's great. When the Eagles play in Germany, come over. I'm waiting with some beer. So enough flattery. Hey, German, I've been to Austria and Germany. And the beer there, folks, let me tell you about the beer in Germany for a second. So I went to Austria. German, tell them, the beer is like the kegs are under the ground. And they don't have any carbonation in these beers. I don't know how they do it. But the beer in Germany is incredible. And it's like they have them under the ground. They have these kegs when I was in Austria. And when I was in Bonn, Germany, and we were just a little bit south of Berlin. And we were in Frankfurt. So the beer is insane. They do something with the carbonation there. It's just really great. I lived in Austria for a year. All these teams may start off as Super Bowl teams, but in December, yes, that's what I'm kind of saying right now. I'm saying that right now. There's probably around 11 teams. This will change. Okay? This will change. It will. Seals, you were talking about forgiveness and how people don't forgive or believe someone can change. I think you're a good dude, and everyone deserves forgiveness. But your takes on Jalen stink, you jabroni. Thank you. My takes. That's okay. That's a great line. I appreciate that. Beer's different here, man. Sorry, but you got light beer here. That's why I drink Coronas, dude. I'm not kidding you. I drink Coronas for that reason. Beer's different there. It is. But by the way, you want to hear something else wild? Like I walked into a McDonald's in Germany. I was Austrian. And I went like this and I said, Bier and Wasser. And so like the guy goes, okay, so he gives me a glass of water and he gives me beer. And he goes like this. He goes, lick die Fenster. I was like, what? In a Fenster. What's that mean? He goes, look in the mirror. I was like, oh, okay. Fenster, mirror. Got it. All right. Yes. You want some good beer? Canada too. Yes, sir. Absolutely. And I speak the Deutsch. No, yes. You see the Fenster? Look in the mirror. I don't speak German that well, dude. No sprechen Sie Deutsch? A little bit. Not really anything. I kind of put some words together. My uncle's Austrian. My aunt knows a little bit. Other than that, I got to piecemeal the thing together. Right? I can't do dark beer. No. And IPAs. I can't do IPAs. I don't really like IPAs because I don't like bitter. Okay, I don't. All right, so your Super Bowl window. It's really going to be contingent on who goes. It really is. Who goes? If A.J. Brown is the only dude that goes, your offense will be worse. If Lane and A.J. go, you're not a Super Bowl contending team. If A.J. and Jalen Phillips goes, you're not a Super Bowl contending team. if Jalen Phillips and Lane go, and if AJ and Goddard go, you're not a Super Bowl contending team. This is going to be more about the exits, just like it was a year ago. So let's go back and revisit one topic. I asked you this 100 times in the offseason. You guys think you replaced the players that were on the 24 team? Did you? Did you replace the players? No. There's a follow-up question to you. No. What's up, dude? Do you believe you replaced the players? Yes or no? Hell to the no. Flexing, no. M. Reyes, do you believe you replaced the players that were on the 24 team? Let's see what he says. You know it's going to be yes, but let's see what he says. So everybody in here is saying no. Lesser replacements. That's probably more fair. Is lesser replacements. Okay? There's two places we're going here. Let me write this down so I don't forget. Not completely, but more than you think. Okay. More than I think. You got bounced by a JV team in the first round of the playoffs. What more were you thinking? What do you mean? I mean, what more were you thinking? I mean, what am I missing? So here. So what kind of season do you think Howie had last year? A, B, C, or D? How do you think how was Howie's year? The greatest general manager of all time. You guys have called. Harbaugh will coach reckless out of Dart and Scatterbill. He may coach the recklessness out of him. Okay? How do you think Howie did this offseason? C? C minus? Okay. How do you think he did? What would you give Howie? D. I thought this guy was the greatest. I thought he was the greatest general manager. Now, look, you're not going to be a superstar GM every year. We all know that. Okay. We all get that. You're not going to be a superstar general manager every year. Okay. So we understand that. You're not going to win a Super Bowl every year. So we're not going down that lane here. But you tell me. Okay, so here. Howie didn't have a very good year. There's not one person in that organization that had a good year except Vic Fangio. Howie didn't have a good year. I think Howie had a less than stabilizing year. I think it worked enough to win, but not win it. And so he was middle of the road. This guy was a 10-11 win football team. And again, it never had consistency at all. The defense, it took about 6 weeks for it to get going. Where a year ago, it kind of was starting to get really good when they implemented and put in Cooper DeJean, right? What changed the entire landscape of the Eagle defense was when you guys put in Cooper DeJean. That's what changed it. Right? Okay. Well, that's how he did not have a good year. And then get this. The thing with Milton Williams, what aggravates me the most is that the relentless take of you can't pay everybody. Well, Milton Williams wasn't anybody. He was one of the best players on your defense. I say Howie misevaluated on the player's value to the team. Is that fair? They thought they could live without him because of what many of you said. I can't tell you how many people said, well, Milton Williams benefited playing next to Milton Williams, or excuse me, Jalen Carter. I heard that and I went, well, wait, you're telling me you don't think Jalen Carter benefited at all having Milton next to him and playing next to better players? Nope, it's Jalen Carter. Well, that turned out to be false. Jalen Carter benefited on his talent being, get this, how many people believe this? If Milton Williams was playing next to Jalen Carter would have been a force this year in the NFL. I believe that. I believe Jalen Carter would have took on less doubles, and I think he would have been a force having that dude next to him. Do you not agree? So what you did was your most important defensive tackle, you had him take on more double teams, which injured the shoulders. Morrow's a fine ball player. He's not Milton Williams. And what sucks is you drafted Milton and you developed him. You turned him into the – what you see in New England right now is because of Philly. How he fucked that up. That's a miscalculation. If you keep telling me that Howie's this wizard I said to you, you're never in a million years ever going to have two wide receivers making over $25 million. Well, that turned out to be a bad take by me because Howie made the money work. Devontae gave him a great deal, and it worked. If Howie wants to make something work, he makes it work. You're telling me he just didn't want to make it work because he believed that he could replace Milton. Well, he couldn't, and he didn't, and he won't. There's nobody on that football team, and there's nobody going to be on the football team in 3 years unless you draft somebody that turns out to be a superstar on what you did with Milton Williams. Now, again, I'm picking on Milton here because I'm talking about building the future of the team and keeping your Super Bowl window open on how you're evaluating talent. You're also going to let Moro Jomo walk in about a year. You're going to let him go through the season. He's going to be a free agent. He's going to bolt. Moro's a good player. Could he turn out to be that? I don't know, but he's trending up. But because you drafted those two D tackles, and here's something else to think about. If you play Jordan Davis, the money that you're saying, 18, 19 million, by the way, you're going to pay him 7 more than he's making now, and you think that's what they're going to land on? I don't know. What did the tackle from the Kyle, anybody? What did the tackle from the Cowboys sign for? The interior tackle. I'm not talking Quinnen Williams. I'm talking the other guy that they got there. Didn't they give him a $19, $20 million deal? Yeah, Jordan Davis is not Milton. He's absolutely not. You could do more with Milton. He's a more versatile player. And he can play 3 downs. That's what makes Milton better than Davis. Play him anywhere. Like I heard somebody say yesterday to me, Sills, you're not going to put him and play him at the nose for 65 plays. Why would I? I'm going to move it up and down the line of scrimmage. Jimbo, how much was that guy paid by the Cowboys? Sills, if they can get 2 foundational players on offense in this year's draft, would you say it would be a success? It'd be a grand slam. Yes. And then you let basically Fletcher Cox walk out the door. Now look, see Fletcher Cox, no, that's over the top. He's not Fletcher Cox. Fletcher Cox, okay, so look at this. 4 years, $80 million. So that defensive tackle in Dallas is making $20 million a year. You're going to pay Jordan Davis $20 million a year? And then turn around and pay $30 million? to Jalen Carter? Is that right? So you're going to pay $52 million between two interior tackles. $52 million. Jalen Phillips and Moro Jomo or anybody. Hell, Jalix Hunt, all them guys. Not a chance in hell you're paying. Unless you do this, I'm getting rid of Mulata and I'm getting rid of Lane. Lane's contract comes off the board. If he retires, you're going to say $25 million there. Right? Milton is better than Carter overall right now, but Carter's ceiling, yes, I agree with that. Yes, I agree 100% with that. Jalen Carter has Jerome Brown type of ceiling. I've only said that about a few players. And I think he's got Jerome Brown ceiling stuff. I do. I think his attitude sucks at times. Hey, listen. God rest his soul on his birthday. Jerome didn't have the best attitude all the time either. He'd take plays off too. Don't kid yourself. Jerome was a little lazy. He could be lazy. But then he turned around and put up 7 splash plays and ends the game. You're like, shit. Very few players can do that. I'm going to take 2 plays. Used to drive Buddy Ryan crazy. But Lane Johnson's $20 million dead cap hit. Don't do it if that matters. Well, you do it $20 million a year. If you're going to pay the guy the same amount of money, Jordan Davis's agent's going to go, look what the guy in Dallas got. He got $20 million. He got 4 years, $80 million. He's making $20 million. What do you think? You're going to get some hometown discount where you're going to make $15 million? That's not how that's going to work. So you see if Pickens doesn't play under the franchise tag, whatever team that takes him has to give up 2 first-round picks or the equivalent of it. Seems weird. Not sure. Yes. Here, if they franchise tag him and a team wants to trade for him, they have to give 2 ones up for him. That's what that tag. Yes. Yes. It's a team-friendly tag. The money's great for the player because it's all fully guaranteed. But the compensation goes on the side of the team. Team gets 2 ones. Or that like restricted free agent thing too. There's something like that tied to it. Eagles could draft a starter or 2 out of the draft. Well, let's see this here. In last year's draft, did you draft a starter? Let's see. Campbell for a little bit, but lost his job back to the original starter. So you guys didn't have one guy start for you as a full-time starter. And as a guy who won the job, right? You didn't have one guy that you drafted. Am I wrong? Was there somebody? No. So not one guy drafted was a starter. Year before, you drafted 2 guys that became starters. That's rare. Makuba was a starter. Okay, I'll give you that. Then he got hurt. Kind of goes down his pre-draft stuff a little bit. Right? Cousin was tagged twice in Washington. And I think it was 25 and then 30. I forget what it was. He may have been tagged before they changed the rules 3 times. I forget. Yeah, I think you can count Makuba. Makuba was your starter. I think you could. But again, the one thing in the pre-draft and the analysis of him was that he couldn't stay healthy. He couldn't stay healthy at Clemson, and he couldn't stay healthy a little bit at Texas. So that turned out to follow him into the NFL. So yes, you did draft it. You drafted a starter. But you're drafting 2? I don't know. Don't ever let Jalen Carter be a free agent. Well, again, it's one thing to have tremendous talent. It's another thing to live up to it. Here, let's do this. Ty, Do you think that Jalen Carter has lived up to his ability so far you think he's lived up to his ability so far as a first-round pick and a ninth pick in the draft? As a matter of fact, do you think Jordan Davis, since he's been drafted, has lived up to the 13th pick? I'd say no to both. Well, shit, dude. At times, I don't want to pay $30 million for a guy that does it when he feels like it. Do you? So every year the Eagles have hit on one or two players a year. They may be able to hit on the O-line and edge. I think if they draft an offensive lineman in the first round, especially at 23, I think they might be able to let me show you something here. Let me go into the draft for a second. Let me go here. I'm going to show you something where the Eagles are sitting. By the way, I love Lance Zierlein, and I bring up always his pre-draft stuff. Hey, I think he's the best. So here, the Eagles are picking at 23. They got that kid, Cassius Howe, the kid that I'd like. I didn't see this. And they got him at edge there. Obviously, if they're taking edge and Lance thinks that they're going to go edge, they're not signing Phillips. Okay? They're not signing Phillips. And they're going to pass on that dough. Okay? Because they're just going to pass on it. I say this. If that kid Caleb Lomu's there at Utah, Messidor, Young, that kid from Missouri, don't need a linebacker. Proctor's going to be around 14. If Proctor falls, it's going to come down. Let me see how many Lance has at quarterbacks going in the first round. Mendoza 1. He's got Bain going at 9 to Kansas City. Whew. Man, Steve Spagnuolo and Bain. They got the Miami tackle going to Cincinnati. That'd be a great pick for them. I don't see another quarterback. The problem with the Eagles on these O-linemen, there's not a lot of quarterbacks in this draft that are going to go in the first round. Ty Simpson probably will get elevated up. There's 2 quarterbacks that are going to get drafted. I mean, Ty Simpson is going to be a first rounder. I think he's garbage. So the problem that you have if you're the Eagles and you're looking for an O-lineman, the good ones are going to go high in this draft. Let me see how many offensive linemen Lance has in the top 10. 1. He's got 2. Let's see between 11. Let's see between 20 and 25. How many between there? 1, 2, 3. You got to look at it strategically. If they go O-line in that area there, they're going to get a good player. If they get this kid Cassius Howe or Messidor from Miami, I think Messidor's. Here's what he says about him. Here's Messidor. Here's his strengths. Blends rapid determination with coaching of a great Hall of Fame defensive end in Jason Taylor. Uses finesse and power depending on approach and opponent. Appears to gain momentum and speed on the turn. Means he runs the hoop well. Effective inside Euro step helps shrink the corner. He's got that step he's got that Micah Parsons step. It's a lateral step. It's a small step that cuts the corner. He can cut the corner, and he swings because he's taught by Jason Taylor. It's a great observation by Lance here. Discipline and spy quarterbacks, which means he knows bootleg, and that means he knows difference between jet sweeps. He knows the difference in screen passes. He can recognize quick. We have 6 to 8 draft picks with comp picks in the first 4 rounds. That's how we trade for any other first-round pick. Skill positions this year, maybe quarterback next year. I say, if anything, it's going to be a wideout. Tyler, I think it'd be a wideout. Now, here's, let's see, pursuits wide with adequate speed and smart angles. Love that. Now, here's his weaknesses. Lacks the desired height. 6'3". I like that guy around 6'4" and up. But to be an elite edge rusher, he's 6'3". I think Parsons is around 6'3". Speed to power conversion is average by league standards. Base narrows through engagement, leading to unbalance. Means he can fall over his pads. Not good. I've seen that too. Desire to chase play direction sets up for counters. What that means is this. If the play goes this way, what he'll do is he'll take, instead of getting as deep as the ball, you're taught this by great coaches. If a play's going the opposite way, it's going that way, okay? You're not to take the pursuit angle because why? Who's got the edge coming back if they run a reverse? And these coordinators will run reverses. You have to have a drop step. You have to get as deep as the ball, and then you get in your pursuit angles. He'll do this. Boom, plant. And I told Jason Taylor this. Got to correct that. He'll plant and then take off. Well, you're acceptable to reverses and counter trays. And Miami got hurt on that a couple times. Yeah, but I'm talking about his height. So it's a technique issue, and I think it's a lazy issue that he does when he it's a lazy issue. But I like the kid. So let me tell you the kid that I'm falling in love with here for the Eagles. Cassius Howe. I want you to hear this. Now, he's smaller. He's kind of like he's a little like Reddick. He's got a lot of Reddick. Here's Lance Zierlein's on him. Whatever you think of Will McDonald, that's his comparison that he compares him to. Bendy edge rusher, standout sack totals, burst and effortless are on Howe's menu. He pairs it with refreshing inside spin counters, tough threatening. His rush could use more cohesive sequencing, means multiple. Here's the one thing Aiden Hutchinson does that this kid doesn't do. Aiden Hutchinson is an effort guy. He'll be a guy that will go one. This is what Malata struggles on. First pass rush doesn't move. He's got a counter. He's got a third, and he's got a fourth. I think that comes from his dad. Okay? I think that comes from his dad. And his dad taught him because his dad played at Michigan too. Got to have multiple pass rush moves. That's what makes Aiden Hutchinson plus his effort level exceptional. See, this kid, I like the kid. I just think he's kind of too short. You know, I thought he was taller, 6'2". So let's go to Caleb Lomu. Man, is this not a replacement for Lane Johnson? 6'6", 305. Good frame with room for more muscle mass. Very athletic, getting out of stance and into lead pulls or cutoff blocks. That means he gets the second level. Advocates hands and good quickness in both phases. Core strength, keep that core strength is so important with an offensive lineman because guys tug. You get tugged over, get back up, and you can keep your balance. Yeah, this right here here's the weakness on him. He gallops open his outer half to quickly against speed rushers. He opens up like this. Man, if you got a guy with an inside move, he's just going to swat the shit out of that, get back inside, and come back to underneath. So that's a tough one there. That means he could be beat on inside moves. Footwork can be sloppy, mirroring inside moves. There it is right there. And counters. So he can, like, you can go influence and then back inside on him because he opens up too fast. Still learning to find lateral landmarks in the run game. What this means is this. Okay, why do you think defensive linemen move prior pre-snap? Or sometimes even post-snap? Because you know what I'm trying to do? I don't want to give that guy 6'6", 310 pounds, 315 pounds, a stable landmark for him to hit. He's trying to hit my outside shoulder or trying to hit my inside shoulder. The NFL, there's not anywhere where you try to hit somebody head up. Games played on angles. Played in two places, angles and space. So he's trying to hit an angle. Well, that's why defensive linemen move. Because what you're trying to do, that guy's coming off the line of scrimmage and he's coming at you. He's trying to hit a landmark. Well, you don't want to give him a clean landmark. He's going to blow your doors off. So you're moving around and that stops his feet. And anytime you stop a player's feet, you win. So you're trying to stop the feet. That's why, hey, listen, that's why replacing Lane is going to be virtually impossible. Here's what Lane does so well. His feet are fucking unbelievable. And for a guy that's a 500-pound bench presser at 6'6", his arm distance, he's 10 times stronger than me. And I was a 600-pound bench presser. Why is he stronger than me? Because of his length of his arms. Shit, I could be a bench presser and be a 600-pound bencher. But if I don't get him off the line of scrimmage and I'm not quicker than him off the line, his reach alone is going to stuff me. When you have a reach like that, like you got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar reach, you can't defend that. I mean, you've got to do things and you've got to beat him with speed. You've got to be a force. That's why Aaron Donald was such a freak of nature. Aaron Donald was a dude he's 6 feet tall. He's 275. How did he beat people? He didn't beat people with power, even though he's a 550-pound bench presser. He ran like 4.6s, 4.7s, but he was 6 feet. How'd he get there? Angles. Got the angle. He never did things head up because he would get blown. Dude, you're playing against a 6'6" guy. I don't care who you are. Big dudes beat little dudes up. Mass beats ass. Always. But he used angles. Replacing Lane replacing AJ will be easier than replacing Lane. And both are impossible to replace. I mean, AJ's going to be impossible. Goddard, you're going to get away with that. You're going to get away with Jahan Dotson. Nobody cares about that place or about that space. But the two dudes you can't replace, here's the order. Lane, AJ, and Jalen Phillips. Those three dudes, I want to see you replace those three dudes. The story of your offseason is going to come down to three players. Lane, AJ, and Phillips. What are you replacing them with, those three guys? A draft pick? Who? You think a draft pick is going to come in and have the impact and the footwork and the tenacity and the experience of those three guys never happen. Like, unless you're drafting Lawrence Taylor. Or unless you find, like, seriously, they drafted Micah Parsons to be an off linebacker, not a pass rusher. Somebody got injured in Dallas. They put him down in a stance. They figured out, wow, he can rush the passer. That was all by luck. That's by luck. So the order, in my opinion, it goes Lane, AJ, and Jalen Phillips. And here, to the structure of the units, Jalen Phillips is probably going to be more of a structural issue for the defense because the edge setting. Jalen Hunt is still developing. So what am I going to do if I'm a coordinator? You don't have Jalen Phillips over there and you got a rookie. I'm running right at that rookie. Who you got behind him? And by the way, that means more double teams on Carter. Your structure's kind of messed up a bit here. Once again, you're like at the beginning of the season, trying to figure out who your edge guys are going to be. So let's say Johnson comes back a year. Get Proctor, whose arm length is 33-35, which is great. Have him play guard a year. Put him in the, he'll beat Steen out. Steen's a dude. Tyler Steen is a backup offensive lineman. And in some places around the league, he's probably a starter. Like Tyler Steen could start pretty much on 70% of the offensive lines in the NFL. But in Philly, that's the standard was dropped. He's not better than Isaac Seumalo. I don't think he was actually better than Cam, who played the guard. He's been the lesser from Isaac Seumalo to Cam to Becton. He was the lesser of all those guys the last 4 years. Would we not agree? Guy's a dude. He's a good player, but he's not he did his job. He was okay, but it wasn't really. And then when you have the effects of Lane being out, Camp downplaying, he kind of is a guy. Tyler Steen never benefited like Becton did from a healthy Cam and a healthy Lane. So you never really know what kind of play you're looking at. He may be better. I don't know. Okay, he might be. Yeah, see, I don't know. But I don't know what kind of body shape he's in. I just got through telling you, Lane, and I'm already concerned 13 surgeries. Lane Johnson's 10-yard split and three-cone drill was incredible. So he's amazing. Dude, his hand work, and plus his hands, how he punches left, right, slides his feet, gets to the second level. He's a tremendous athlete. He's an athlete first, then O-lineman. Possible to duplicate that in the draft. Let me see what they said about the top O-line guy. See, these guys down here at this spot, this Lomu kid, I don't like that he can't take on speed rushers. Wait a minute. You're going to go to the NFL? You're going to have a nightmare, kid, if you're going to go and play against a guy like Myles Garrett. Or if you got to play Micah Parsons. And with that schedule they're playing, whew. Okay, where's the kid? Okay, here's Fano. 6'6", 308. 3-year starter with experience. How old is he? He's a Utah kid. Say his age. Let's see his age. 3-year starter, has extensive reps in prominent run blocking schemes, good hand strike quickness, and allowed to fire out. Accelerates feet and runs through angle blocks on contact. That means he doesn't run to the point. He runs through the point. You know, I'll tell you guys, I was so close to going to work for the Raiders in their personnel department. I remember, like, I was talking with Al Davis. I forget what year the draft was. It was Kyle, the year of the Ricky Dudley draft for Ohio State. And I remember I'm sitting in there and I'm watching Ricky Dudley. He was a tight end. He ended up going to the first round, and the Raiders took him. Al Davis told me to come in and watch game film on him. And I'm watching him, and I'm watching his hands. I'm watching his feet. Al Davis goes like this to me. He goes, what do you think of him? So I was in there about 2 hours, and I was watching game film. And I remember going to him and saying, this was right before the April draft. 96 draft. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Rasputin. I remember I go like, I go, and I think he's a fourth rounder because John Gruden wants to take him in the first round. John Gruden and I got into an argument over this. I think he's a fourth rounder. John goes, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're a radio guy. Al Davis goes, I'm thinking of hiring him in my personnel department. John looked over at me and he goes, Al, really? So John and I didn't speak after that. I think he's a fourth rounder. Raiders took him number 1. Al came to me 2 years later, still on the air. Hey, let's have lunch. He goes, you were right about Dudley. I was like, he goes, you want a job? I was like, man, I'm doing afternoons now. So when I got down to Tampa doing mornings, guess who John Gruden brought with him? Ricky Dudley. And I'm on the air going, the guy's a stiff. I said it to Al. He was a stiff. John's not very good in personnel. He's just not. That's what his downfall was when he was in Tampa. And this is why Howie doesn't let coaches get in the way any longer of making selections. Let the personnel people in the building do the job. A coach doesn't really sit there and analyze a guy who's a prospect. He doesn't watch that film. He watches NFL guys. He know, like when you're a guy like Jeff Stoutland or you're Vic Fangio, you know what you are? You're sitting here watching prototypes. You don't know what the guy's name is. And so after a while, Howie gets a sense of what kind of defensive end you're looking for. Do you know Ricky Dudley, the tight end. What kind of player does Vic Fangio likes? He likes high motor, versatility, smart, great tacklers, play in space. Howie goes out and will take 200 guys. Howie will go out and go like this. Hey, Vic, I want to show you 5 guys. So Vic will sit down during the draft time and he'll start looking and going like this. I like that guy and that guy and that guy. So he'll pare it down to 3 out of the 5. Then Howie will go back. They'll do their due diligence over those 3 guys. And Howie will look at it, and because he probably takes the opinions of Stoutland and Vic way more than anyone else on his coaching staff, and they'll do their due diligence. Then they'll try to pare it down, and they'll pick 3 guys. Every single personnel guy, especially when you're picking in the 20s, like 23, Howie's got 5 or 6 guys per position. The problem you have when you get down to 23 and down in the 30s, what are you going to take? The 5th best linebacker? No. You got to start taking after 15. Ron Wolf told me this. After 15, usually almost always in every draft, after 15, you know what you do? You take the best player available. Because in any given draft, there's not 32 first rounders. I mean, you're out of your mind if you think that. Just because you go in the first round doesn't mean you're a first round talent. That's the biggest mistake Nolan Smith's not a first-round pick. He's just not. He never was. I never thought he was. I never thought it was a good pick. Barrett Brooks liked it. I was like, it's too small. Then you see the player. Now, look, I'll say this about Kobe. Now, Kobe, I said this about him. I just think he was very good. It turned out he was good. But the one thing I was right on, he was never going to be built he's not built for the NFL. Denzel Perriman is the same size as him, maybe even smaller. But Denzel, he's played 13 years. And I didn't think Denzel was built for it, but he was. Some guys are just freaking natures. No, Nolan Smith is not a first-round talent. First-round talent means this, availability too. Dude, just because you're good and you show skill set, you got to play 17 games. That's part of it. Hey, Sills, got first-round talent, but he can't play and he can only work half the week. Well, fuck, he's not a first-round talent then. Well, guess what? Daz, I'm not wrong. He won't be on the team in the offseason. He won't get a contract. So I'm not wrong. Started watching after Mikey Miss went offline. Never went back to terrestrial. Thank you, Pierce. Appreciate that, my friend. And that's a mistake. A guy who's missed 24 or 51 games in the last 4 years, Dad says that's a mistake. Yeah, okay, kid. You're going to pay a guy who plays and works half the year. That's not how that works. Follow the money. That's not how that works. Here, look at this. If they don't bring Dean back, it's a huge mistake. Really. It's a huge mistake for bringing a guy back who can't stay healthy. Okay. By the way, he's going to get a nice offer by somebody else. I said I'd like to see if he could do it in the Bucs. So you thought Nolan was a bad pick at 30? I thought Nolan Smith, I said this, I thought Nolan Smith would be a project player because of his size, and he was hurt at Georgia. Howie likes these undersized dudes. Yeah. By the way, weight room is not going to help you. Dude, one thing about Dean, too. Do you want him on your team? Absolutely. Do you think he's a good player? Yes. Yes, I do. That's irrelevant. It's completely irrelevant in this conversation. They took Nolan to replace Reddick. Correct. And then when why do you think so ask yourself this, David. When they took Nolan, what was the next move they made at edge? Do you remember? That's when they gave Huff the contract because they thought Nolan couldn't do it. Remember? And then they drafted a dude in the 3rd round in Hunt. Do you tell me how they're thinking? Then they went out and they traded for Jalen Phillips. You tell me what they think of Nolan. Go by their actions. Right? All right, guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Appreciate the supers today, by the way. Super Bowl 60. Oh, by the way, Battle Royale at 4:30. All right. So, hey, guess what? We're going to start with some of these conversations that we had. Do you remember the conversation that I had last year with everybody saying, do you believe that Howie Roseman mortgaged the 2025 season for the future? Remember what all of you said? No. Well, here we are. Okay? My question would be, how is that panned out? How do you think 2026 is setting up? He mortgaged the 25 season by some of the moves he made. How do you think that's setting up 26? So we're going to come out of the gate here. And without further ado, we bring our guy in. We bring Big Z, Zander Krause. And we bring him in here right now, Zander. Do you believe where you're sitting right now at February 4th, do you believe the Eagles are a Super Bowl contending team in 2026?
First off, what's up, Big Sills? Yeah, it sells. Right now I don't think you can say that, but I think they're right. We've talked about kind of that teetering period where they can make some moves this offseason that maybe push them right back to that conversation. But there's also a world that exists this summer, maybe more than some previous summers we've had recently, where that window could close a little bit, or you could fall out of that conversation. Now, a lot of things can change in an NFL calendar in a calendar year, but you lose AJ, Lane, Goddard. All right, I'm probably not going to be up here saying I think they're going to be a Super Bowl contender. You bring AJ back and Lane comes back. You draft Kenyon Sadiq in round 1. The tight end out of Oregon. You sign Jalen Phillips, and all right, then I think okay, hey, we have an opportunity here to go back and make a move. So I think we're teetering right there. But right now, Feb 4th, can't make that comment. No.
So you got to wait and see what free agency and the draft brings you, right?
Yeah. Yep. And also some of the players on the team, AJ obviously number 1.
Do you agree with me with what I said that the priority list has to be this and what you're going to go through? It's AJ, it's Lane Johnson, it's AJ Brown, then it's Jalen Phillips. Those are the decisions that you have to make because they're going to predicate and dictate what you do in free agency in your draft. So I would say this to you. Lane Johnson, A.J. Brown, replacing those players, even if you have to replace 2 of those players, Zander, that's almost – look, do you believe you have to believe that you're going to hit on Q and you're going to have to hit on Cooper again in this coming draft. Am I correct? You believe you would have to hit on at least 2 starters.
You mean you're talking just from an impact on your team type?
Absolutely. Guy. Absolutely.
I mean, that would help. that would make a big difference, but that's tough to do, man. That's tough to do even for teams that draft really well. I mean, that's just hard. Having Quinion and Coop like we got that one year is just, it's rare. So, but no, I agree. I mean, especially if you're losing those guys on offense, but I don't know. Like, does AJ hold the cards? Like if you're Howie, don't you kind of just go like, shut up, basically?
Boy, I'll tell you what. I don't know if I want to go down that lane. Can it be fixed, Zander? Can this relationship be fixed?
I think it can. I mean, I think it can.
Why? Because there's 32 million reasons. Guy, there's 32 million reasons.
Well, that's true too. Because they could say to him, "Well, we'll trade you, but we got to restructure your deal." So maybe. But the question about AJ being fixed is more like I know we all have a guess or an opinion. We don't really know what AJ's problem is with right now. Like, it's easy to say, hey, maybe it's Hurts, but hey, he liked playing with Hurts in 22 and 23. You could say it's Nick, but there's also been moments where, he probably understands why Nick plays the way he plays. You could say it's Kevin Patullo, but he had a problem with Kellen Moore too, or the offense then too. So I think there's a lot of gray area of if AJ – if you got AJ on Truth Serum and said, what's your problem? Like what is the number one problem to you? Is it the way they play? Is it the style of the quarterback? Is it, the risk-averse approach? Because the style of the quarterback was the same style in 22 and 23. AJ had 1,500 and was an all-pro. So it's tough. I think it can be fixed, yeah, but it's hard. You got to identify what his problem is.
Okay, well then here, follow me on this one here, okay? So do you think with the Lakers right now, and I get one guy's older, one guy's younger, and I get all that. You think that LeBron likes that the offense runs through Luka now?
No, it's LeBron. He doesn't like that. Why would he like that?
Why would AJ like it goes through the run game and not him anymore?
Yeah, you're
so
right.
So to me, it's not about the quarterback. It's about the approach of the team. Remember what Kurt Warner said? He doesn't want to feel like he's running wind sprints out there.
Yeah, but he plays a team game, and the coaches identified that the best way to win a team game. No, I'm not saying you're wrong about his feeling. I'm just saying, how do you thread that needle? Because it is a fine line for any great player. How do you – maybe he's come to the conclusion that after winning a Super Bowl, he values – and he kind of tweeted this out after he won the Super Bowl – he values those personal metrics and accolades and, feats more than he values the team. Jalen, I don't think value. I think he values the team more, which is a good thing for a quarterback to value. AJ's different, and he does have to thread that needle though, because dude, you don't play in one of those sports. So if you want that, that's fine, but you're going to have some give. There's give and take, man. There's give and take.
You should have been a boxer, dog.
Right. If you want him to get all the glory, exactly right. Nobody else in that ring but you.
That's right, man. Hey, dude, I'm sorry you brought that topic up today, man. And I disagree with John so mightily.
No, which one?
The Milton Williams one. The Eagles never even had a fucking conversation with the guy. Hey, Zander, I heard you follow up and go, yeah, but I guess. And I heard you you even didn't really, you went, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm still going to call the guy and go, is there anything possibly that we could do to try to work something, right? So here, this is how I see it. And you tell me if I'm wrong. I see that that's a miscalculation on the guy's value, because I was told in the offseason by numerous people, hey, Jalen Carter, dude, Milton Williams benefited mightily from Jalen Carter's play. I was like, really? I'll tell you what, I'm watching Milton with lesser players up in New England doing the same shit he did a year ago, and I don't see that. And I'm watching Jalen Carter doing less things than what he did with Milton Williams being in the building. Okay? So, I'm not saying that Milton didn't benefit playing next to him. I think they both benefited playing next to one another. So you miscalculated that, didn't you, if you're Howie?
Well, I think you did, but here's my question for you. It's easier to play, hindsight. Do you forget the outcome? Do you believe his decision-making process was correct?
I struggled if you remember right, I told you I struggled with this. So you draft a guy in the 3rd round, you developed him. You even knew Vic tried to trade for him when Vic was the DC of Miami, because he knew he was so versatile, and Vic loved the guy and how he played. And that was a Fangio type player. And the money I got it, I understood $26 million. But Zander, the Cowboys gave that guy $20 million, that Osa guy. They gave him $20 million. What were you thinking the price tag was going to be? I don't think they thought I don't think they thought Milton's value was that high.
I don't think it's about that.
See, you think it's more about the money. I think it's more they thought he wasn't worth that.
No, I don't think they didn't think he was worth it. I think they identified that he wasn't the guy who. Well, maybe that is a nicer way of, a more blunt way of saying it. If they think Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis are more a part of their future than Milton, then yeah, they don't think he was worth that price tag. But if Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter weren't here, or one of them wasn't here, I'm of the impression that they would have paid Milton Williams. So that's where I ask you, is the thought process wrong? Now, maybe you're right that, yeah, it's a miss and a lost player, but it's hard for me to criticize that thought process. Don't you think you would have made the same one? If you couldn't, remember, we live in perfect world land.
Okay,
Howie doesn't.
But wait. If your decision is to make that move off of the fact that I drafted a guy 13 and 9, that's a flawed decision. To me, if you're going off the basis who I think has got a better ceiling and a better player and more versatile, I think there's 2 conversations here. The personnel people are going to do what, always, Zander? They're going to go with their draft picks and the guys that they drafted higher than they are with the guys they drafted lower, because, again, you've got to justify those signing bonuses to your owner. So if you're going down that lane, now look, again, well, wait, that goes into the question of, see, I don't think Howie had that great a year. And I think this is one of the tipping points of that, is that this right here, all of those signings, I counted 13, not 14, 13 signs, 2 panned out. He kept swinging. I'm great at that, as I said yesterday. But when you started off with, well, my opinion, I don't think you agree with it. My opinion is, well, guess what? I think he benefited from playing next to Carter, and we as an organization don't think that guy's a $26 million player. So we're going to move off that guy, and we can recreate him with Moro Jomo. Moro Jomo's a fine ball player. He ain't that. And I think that's a miscalculation on your talent evaluating.
Well, maybe it is.
But that started the
What are
domino.
you gonna do though? I mean, you know what I mean? Like we're past it. Should I live there forever? And
No.
every DP that gets signed, I can't do that. I don't know.
Okay, well then that's that. But that goes into this year now. How are you going to rebuild if you lose all these players?
Well, who do you expect them to lose on defense?
Valuable?
Who do you expect them to lose on defense?
Jalen Phillips
and Nakobe Dean. Yeah, I disagree with you on Dean, but I understand your point. I think Dean is. I'd take the shot on Dean, but I get it.
Wait a minute. Are you going to pay two $17 million linebackers then?
I think Bond's done after this year, no matter what. In Philly.
Remember, there's no fifth-year option. He's a third rounder, so you have to give him a deal.
How old is Nakobe Dean?
He's been here 4 years. I think he's 25?
He's 25 years old, just turned 25.
And he's missed 24 of 51 ball games last 4 years.
Just turned 25 in December. Bond, I literally think Bond has 1 year left. Even if it doesn't matter what happens. I think he's got 1 year left. He signed a 3-year deal. Normally those deals have been out after 2 years. I don't think they're going to, especially with Cooper, Quinyon, all those guys coming up. I think they shed that money.
Man, that's such a gamble, man, to move off of Bond with guys missed one game really in the last 2 years.
So the question for me would be like, for the next 3 seasons, if you operate and you're trying to fix those next 3 or handle this for the next 3 years or 2 years, whatever, if 3 is too long, do you like the thought process of Nakobe Dean and the injury concern for the next 2 years? Or do you like Zach Bond year 1 and roll the dice on whoever you would replace Bond with for year 2?
Who's my coordinator in 2 years?
And that's part of the dice rolling. We don't know. I'd feel better if Dean was there, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah.
I do. I would.
So if you lose Phillips.
I did not think that I would struggle with Nakobe Dean's departure. I am not a fan of that. I get it, though. I'm not saying I don't get it. I think it's – I struggle with this more than I was struggling with Milton Williams last year.
Here's where I've come around on Nakobe. He's a player. I didn't think he was. I think Vic's impact on him has been the biggest of any player in that lineup. Do you not agree?
Biggest of
outside of Bond being brought in, I'm talking homegrown. Is there anybody on offense who excels more in that you have seen them draft that went from that? Because Cooper, you put him in, he was that guy right away. Q, you put him in, those guys were that guy right away. Man, Dean was flopping around, right? Yeah. Dean was flopping around.
Well, Dean struggled with injuries early. Yeah. I mean, we never really got a chance to see his talent. But I actually think it served him okay, because if you watch Dean, I brought this up a couple of days ago, you watch him on the sidelines. He's got one of those spacesuits on, man, where you can see things in his tech and his glove. Like, that's how close he's watching it, man. So I think it helped him. But yeah, I don't see anybody that's got that type of, impact. No, not really on offense.
So you would bring him back?
Under 10 mil, yeah.
Under 10 mil. Okay. Well, I think that's going to be you know what? If you're the agent, you might settle for 13.
Bro, see, this is where I think you're a little off. You think he's going to get that much?
13?
Well, Spotrac agrees with you, so maybe they're right. Let me log in.
I know
Let me log in to Spotrac and see what they say, or Spot Rack, whatever the hell it's called.
I think it's 17.5.
Let me go type in Nakobe Dean.
I think it's like.
I'm just a Nakobe Dean guy. I think they should pay him, but
it's hard not to be.
I understand that I'm not the GM, so don't take my word to the bank. All right, I don't know how to do it better than Howie. I'm not going to pretend I do, but I freaking like that dude in terms of signing him here. All right, let me find the market value. Market value, it says, is 7.9 mil.
7.9 mil?
On Spot Rack. I thought now PFF went crazy. PFF made the prediction.
He's not 17.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So if you factor it somewhere in the middle,
7-9.
Let me
7-9.
Here. PFF predicts contract for the Eagles' top 3. Here you go. They predicted a 3-year, $41 million deal for Nakobe Dean, with so a little less than Bonds, with 29.5 guaranteed.
No way the Eagles are going to go there with a guy that missed half his career. There's no way. There's no way, man, that they're going to go with that.
Well, why? Wait. You're not consistent. I'm sorry, but you're not on this. You want to pay
I said
Phillips,
the Eagles.
don't you?
What's that?
Didn't you say you wanted to pay Phillips? Well, how many games has he missed in 4 years? He missed with an ACL and a freaking Achilles. He's got bigger injuries than Nakobe.
I don't know if he's missed as many games.
No, because he got hurt late one year, 13 games in, I think.
Probably why they're going to pass on him. He's going to get
PFF's got him in a 1-year, $15 million deal. Which is not going to happen.
Yeah, no. Drew Rosenhaus is his agent. No, I don't. That's not going down. 7.9 million. Is that what the one?
Now, don't take that to the bank.
I would sign him for that.
Here, I'll pull it up so you guys can see what I'm looking at here.
I would sign him for that.
Pull it up for you guys, for the great people of JAKIB Nation to see.
Look at
There
this.
it is. You can see Nakobe Dean. All right, 25 years old, December 13th, 7.9, market value 4 years at 32 mil. I mean, I make that deal, dude. He's 25 years old.
I would do that.
I'm doing that deal.
Look what Brandon said.
Wow. Yeah, I know. I know that, Brandon. I know that, Brandon. That's what I'm calling him out on. I mean, I'm a Bama guy. I want Nakobe Dean. He's a Georgia Bulldog. I don't give a rat's ass. Guy's a fucking player.
Yeah. What do you mean? All right.
I mean, look, here's his injuries. 25, he missed weeks 1 through 5 with the knee.
He's a you guy.
23, he missed 2 through 5 with the foot. 23, he missed 11 through 18 with the foot. So he's got foot and a knee. Where's our boy Jalen Phillips? Let's go type in Jalen Phillips.
I think he missed a lot 1 year.
Yeah.
May have been 13 games he missed.
All right, come on here. Here's Jalen Phillips, all right? We go to market value. 17.3. 3 years, 52 mil.
Where's his injuries?
Injuries are here. Weeks 5 through 18 with the knee and Achilles. I told you, he got injured in week 13.
Yeah.
So the fact that he made it back for the start of 24 is pretty impressive coming off of Achilles.
Yeah. I think that's okay. I mean, if I'm Tennessee's going to sign him. Tennessee's going to sign him. 17.3. He'll get in negotiating. He'll get about a $20 million deal.
The Eagles can't pick up the option, right? Because it passed.
Yes.
Here, can you do I can sign in here. Can you do a managed contract? What the hell? I just signed in. On my the website's janky. Leave it to this jank ass site.
Oh man!
You could do like a game on there, not a game where you like put in. All right, how much money do we want to give them? How many years?
Yeah. I like that game actually.
Yeah.
All right, Zander, I got to ask you a question here. Today, 8 years ago today, February 4th, your Eagles beat the Patriots for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I didn't know what you were going for when you hit me with that at the start of the show. But
what did you feel when you won that Super Bowl?
I was in Alabama. Me and my boys were running up the strip in Alabama when the Eagles won their first Super Bowl. I'll never forget it. I was so broke. All I wanted to do was fly home for the parade. All I wanted to do. My whole family was at that parade. My dad, my mom, my cousins, my sisters, my brother, who's not even an Eagle fan. He's not a football fan, period. He's just like a nerd, really, is what he is. I love him, but he's he's a nerd. He's not a football guy.
Is that the rich guy?
He's not rich, but he's building a company in New York. Yeah. That doesn't, you know how that works. That doesn't always mean you're rich.
I got it.
You got a board you got to answer to. But no, he is killing it. Shout out to my brother. Yeah, they were all there. All I wanted to do was fly home, and I couldn't. I was so broke, dude. I had probably $28,
Ramen noodles.
Ramen noodles, 100% ramen noodles. We lived that. You know what I lived on in college, which is so gross thinking back on it? Cookout, it's called. You ever had Cookout? Cookout used to be, when I was in college, used to be $5. You could get a full, an entree, which would be like a burger or a bacon cheeseburger, something like that, chicken sandwich, 2 sides, which would be like a fry and an onion ring or something like that. And then I think you got a drink as well with it. $5. So I'd scrounge up some quarters, man. Whatever I had to do, I'd roll in the Cookout, man, get $1 for gas and roll down the Cookout and get my food from Cookout. Holy shit, I was fat and unhealthy. Oh my Lord. But yeah, I couldn't come. But I remember it vividly, them winning it.
Jeremiah Trotter said the 2014 could beat the 2024 team.
The what team could beat the
04 Eagles that lost to the Patriots?
No, they couldn't.
Trotter said that
they could beat the team last year.
Yeah.
Actually, I might buy that. That was a nasty defense, dude. I could buy that.
That Patriots team
was Donovan puke because Jalen wouldn't.
T.O.'s better than AJ.
That's true, and he played on a broken leg, didn't he?
Yep. Yeah, 14 catches, for a fucking 150 yards in the game. Yeah, he was.
I don't know, man. That's pretty close, actually. That's pretty close. But come on, try.
I got asked that question, and I went, well, who's the coach? Well, it's Andy Reid. All right. No. Nick beat Andy Reid. Okay. So, I mean, I don't know, man. McNabb's a better quarterback. Hurts is more of a big game player, though. I never thought McNabb was a big game player. He's got a pretty good postseason record, though, Donovan McNabb, believe it or not. But he just doesn't have it.
He went to how many NFC Champ games? Yeah. Every time you go to an NFC Championship game, that's 3 playoff wins to 1 loss.
You think Howie had a down year last year?
I don't think he had a down year. I don't think he had an up year. I don't think he's the reason they didn't win a lot of games or didn't go the distance. But I also don't think he did as much to give them the advantage. Now, again, some of it is luck. People say 24, he had the greatest year, which he did. He had a good year. Nobody thought Saquon Barkley was going to be 25. They thought he was going to be better. Nobody thought Zach Baum would be an all-pro. Nobody really thought Quinion and Cooper were going to be that good. I don't even think they thought they were going to be that good in the first year. Becton? That's what I mean. There's some luck, a little bit of luck involved where, you pick up the good, somebody pans out, a player plays good. But I don't think he had a bad year. Listen, you know what I'm not going to let happen? All right, and I don't think Howie's perfect. All right, I'll rip him if I feel the need to rip him. I am not going to put Howie Roseman under the microscope for the failures of that offense this year. No way. Doesn't mean Howie's perfect, but if you're telling me why didn't the Eagles reach expectations this year, Howie Roseman is 12th behind the 11 offensive starters. How's that? And he'd be further down the list if I added more in there. Kevin Patullo, Sirianni, all these guys. I mean, Jalen Hurts makes the list twice before Howie makes it. A.J. Brown makes the list before Howie.
Okay, well then, here. Let me play the other side for a second on that, though. So do you agree then, though, Howie was making business decisions for the team and the future of the team that cost him the 25 season with maybe some misevaluations, he did.
Yeah, but you really think because they didn't go all in is why they weren't successful last year?
Yeah, I don't think it's not because – I don't think they failed because of –
Really? See, wait. You think if they had – let's just say they brought back Becton. You think the offense would have had a good year?
If they rolled it back with the entire football team that they had in 24, I don't know they win the Super Bowl, but I think they get to the NFC title game.
That's fair. It'd be hard for me to push back on that.
With that defense back with Sweat and Milton and Isaiah Rodgers.
Well, I just don't want you to switch this narrative.
No.
That offense was bad this year, man. I don't want the further it goes from our rearview mirror, the more people will change the narrative.
No, wait a minute. Is Kellen back as the OC too? So if Kellen's back
no,
as
because he would have been Gonzo.
Okay, well, I'm saying if you
Gonzo regardless of who they signed.
Yeah. So the offense regressing means that Hurts regressed, correct?
Well, yeah. I mean, naturally. The offensive line regressed, you know.
Okay.
Your two stars of the interior. It wasn't even Becton a year ago. It was Juergens and Dickerson. They stunk this year. They were middle of the pack linemen. Cam was, I think, below average. I thought Cam was horrible.
I got to tell you, man, I think the second biggest problem you have on your team is outside of replacing A.J. Brown and Lane. I guess that's two. Man, I'm telling you, that left guard position, I'm starting to really have concerns about that thing with those 13 injuries, man. I'm just like
Cam's the bigger concern for me.
Cam is a concern. There's no, but at least he's younger. Let me give him a shot to kind of come back and try it.
This is why I say Cam's the bigger concern. Let me ask you this. Can anybody point out to me, this is a bit of a rhetorical question. Can anybody point out to me, Jeff Stoutland's been our run game coordinator for quite a bit of time, before fans went crazy and wanted to fire him for Cliff Kingsbury. Leon, I'm talking to you, Leon. Can anybody call out one of the key things that our offense has always done in the run game, dating back pre-Cam Juergens, that has always been an area where we've been better than other teams and has given us a leg up offensively when we run the ball? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just the way you guys dominated at the point of attack.
No, but I'm thinking of something specifically. Jason Kelce would pull, and he'd run 15 yards downfield.
Getting up on levels.
Cam Juergens did that pretty well his first year.
And second.
So Cam takes this step back last year. He can't even stop a freaking guy, coming at. He's barely getting his head up, and the D lineman's already by him. So that guy falls off a cliff or struggles immensely this season. The running game in turn struggles as well. And everybody's, but I don't know. I don't think that's.
So you're saying the pull game, actually. I get this. There's two parts. You just brought up something. It's a new topic here. Last year's offense struggled with two things: the lack of the quarterback running and the lack of the pull game.
Yeah. Linemen moving.
The pull game was not. How many times did you see those linemen getting up? Like, remember Landon even, right?
Yeah. Landon was
getting up. All those guys. Boy, that's a great call, Zander. I didn't think of that because you're right. Those guys never got up on second levels. I don't ever remember Cam downfield blocking. I don't remember any guards pulling. I'll tell you, I think you're within a year. See, this is why I don't think you have a Super Bowl window. You know why? I think you got to rebuild your O-line. I think it's going to take you 2 years.
Well, maybe it does. I mean, if Lane's out of here, and if you're going to assume the worst on Juergens and Dickerson, you might as well hang up the cleats for next year. I mean, seriously, if you don't think that Cam or Landon can get any better, which I'm not far off that. All right, I'm trying to remain optimistic. But if your belief, not you specifically, anybody listening, if your belief is that Cam and Landon are not going to get better or their best days are behind them, I got really bad news for you for next season. It's not going to be a good year. If those guys don't improve at all, it's not going to be a good year. There's no way. How? Think about it. How are you going to improve I don't care who you draft.
Yeah.
Now, maybe if they drafted Caden Proctor, who gives them a little bit more of a leg up on the right side, I don't know. But if those dudes don't come back a little bit better, it's gonna be tough sledding this year.
Who's the free agent O lineman? Let me see agent. Free agent offensive lineman for 2026. Because they may need some help.
Oh, Linderbaum, is he a free agent?
He is.
They're not going to pay him?
They may, but I think he's going to get more money on the open market.
Why would they let him get to the open market?
I wouldn't. for
I
sure.
thought he's been a stud for them. Did he have a down
He,
year? Or
he
something?
made the Pro Bowl. He's an All-Pro.
Well, Cam Jurgens did too.
Offensive lineman.
Cam is no Pro Bowler this year.
Let's see here. Anybody here? Look at the market values too. 13-3, 13-5. Jonah Williams in Arizona. I might think of him. He's 28. Cam Robinson starting, $13 million. You may need some help here, dude. I'd even think about bringing Sayamano back for that $9 million market value.
Maybe. A little old for me, but, it's
32 too, right? I mean, here, this.
Watch job up.
Let me see here. Center. God, would they sign a center? There's Tyler Lindenbaum. Man, that's a big number. You got two guys making 17 and 20. Never happened. Not doing that.
Well, that's what complicates it. If you didn't pay Cam Jurgens yet, it's easy because you're like, yeah, all right, just let him walk. But they paid him, and now you have this thing hanging over your head of if him and Landon aren't good, we didn't even get to Lane Johnson yet. It's gonna be tough. But I think they're gonna be better. I don't think they're gonna be dominant like they were. But I think they're going to be better than they were last year. I do. I don't know. Landon, if Landon is ever allowed to sit down for a week.
I mean, 13 injuries, Zander. 13 injuries. Man,
that's a lot of injuries, dude.
That's a lot for Landon. And this back injury, again, I think there were so many misses last year by the organization. You gave. Do you think how about this? You think they regret Barkley?
I think they regret the second deal, yeah. I do. I mean, it was a thank you. That's what it was.
You think they regret the Cam sign?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Man. And those are contracts. You think they regret taking the $4.5 million away from Goddard?
No. They save money. Why would they regret it?
Well, because if you lose AJ, you're going to lose AJ and Goddard at the same.
Well, they were going to lose. They were going to lose Goddard this year anyway.
Well, wait a minute. If I'm losing AJ, I'm not sure I'm moving off of that guy. I might come back to the table and say, "What can we do to kiss your ass a little bit to come back here?" Because I might need that guy back. No,
maybe.
Because get this. So you're going to sign a 33-year-old coordinator, and you're going to lose AJ Brown?
I brought that up immediately, didn't I? The first call. What'd I say? Mannion, first call. Skip over Jalen Hurts' name. He's not going in. It doesn't matter anyway. Call AJ Brown immediately if you're Mr. Mannion.
So I'll tell you a little bit about what happened with Frank Reich getting the OC job and not getting it here.
I'm not feeling that fit for Frank, unfortunately. I have a good job to take. But I get it. You got to go take the job. Get paid.
Here's what Boomer told me. So Frank has so much respect for Nick. He just didn't feel it was in the best interest because people would be saying, and it'd be a clusterfuck with him being in
He's probably right too.
With people going back and forth like, hey, Frank should do this, Frank should do that. And he just thought it was not a good time to come back. He wanted to. He wanted to work with his friend. The Eagles, by the way, Eagles can tell you whatever they want. Zander, they wanted him back in the organization. He just didn't think it was in the best timing. And to Nick Sirianni's credit, Nick thought maybe he was right. So let's go here. It was either going to be Frank or it was going to be one of those guys, those 18 dudes. So I text Frank. Frank's like, yeah, I'm going to take the Jets. So we're going to get Frank Reich on, by the way.
Oh, he's good.
I don't know when, but when he consummates that deal and he meets the media, Frank's going to come on. He's going to, by the way, folks, he's going to kick my ass for kicking Nick Sirianni's ass and Kevin Patullo.
He is.
And he's going to kick my ass here because he even said, I want to come on after we announced this. I said, okay, good. He goes, I want to make some things right here. But yeah, so he didn't come back because it just wasn't right timing. And I go, what do you make of this guy, Sean Mannion? He goes, got a great reputation. There's a lot of people that love him. There's people that think he's the next Sean McVay.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. We'll see. We'll see.
The next Sean McVay?
I don't think he's going to be that. I think he's going to, my question is like, what is it, like what does the development of the offense look like? Because there is a section of the fan base out there who does believe that they're capable of running a way different style of offense. I used to believe that, but I talk to John and Dan every day, so I'm becoming a fucking curmudgeon at like hypersonic speeds.
Well, do you think that Joe Burrow could run a fucking RPO offense?
Sure. I don't think it'd be best for him, but I think he could run it. That guy can get the job done.
Hold on. It wouldn't be best for him.
He's a goofy though, dude. Yeah. Burrow's a goofy.
You see him at the what'd you make it a Pro
Bowl?
I
fucking see the guy. He's got he looks like a different person. I'm like, what is going on with this guy?
He's like a movie star. He's like a weirdo movie star. What'd you make it a Pro Bowl game? Did you watch any of it? Good for you if you didn't.
I wasn't. No, I didn't watch a single minute. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't in the studio. I was working. So
did you even know it was on?
I knew because my dad texted me. He said, "This reminds me of arena football." I answered him. I said, "What the fuck you watching?" He said the Pro Bowl's on.
Hey, tell your dad arena football. I played it. That shit was hard, man.
Yeah, he worked for the Soul, dude.
Yeah, I know he did. You know what?
Yeah.
That was hard for me. I had to go play offense. Hey, dude, those guys running around your shoulder and getting around that point. So, dude, I dropped back for my first time. They go, Sills, hey, yeah. So they paid me pretty good money, believe it or not. Back in the day, your dad knows that there were teams like this Massachusetts Marauder. They were paying like $300,000 a year for these guys in the Arena League. Some teams were paying like $50. Some teams would pay like $300. I was playing. Get this, Zander. I played for a team called the Las Vegas Sting. You know where I played my football every Saturday? At the MGM Grand Garden.
That's bad.
Dude, I
used to go to the Soul games, man. The Soul games, we would rock out.
Where with the Spectrum?
Yeah. Was it the Spectrum at the time? Yeah, it was the Spectrum probably. Yep.
Wow, that's dope. So, yeah, I used to play at the
Might have been the Center. It might have been the Wells Fargo. They just changed the name of it, I think.
They did.
You know what I was thinking real quick, way off topic? Stadiums or arenas, it's one of the most important sponsorships to get right.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's, I like look at Pittsburgh. They went from Heinz Field to what is it now? Acrisure Stadium. It's like, what the fuck? Heinz Field? That's iconic.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the Lincoln Financial Field, that's iconic. Staples Center, that was iconic.
Yeah, now it's something.com.
Crypto.com. It's stupid.
Crypto. Yeah, crypto.com.
You really want to if I owned one of these teams, I would really try and get that right. I wouldn't just go to the highest bidder. I would go to the best bidder.
Isn't Lincoln Financial, aren't they a Philly company? Isn't Lincoln Financial? I thought Lincoln Financial is a Philly company, right? So you're going to have, if you get a new building, that's going to be on the new building.
I would imagine, but who knows?
So at the Super Bowl,
it's a Philly company, I think. It's an insurance company, isn't it? Lincoln Financial.
I thought it was.
Yeah, it's in Radnor, PA.
Yeah, it's a Pennsylvania company. Yeah.
Yep.
So Tony Dungy was asked the question whether or not he voted for Bill Belichick, and he punted down the line. He kicked the can, and he goes, we'll see who gets into the Hall of Fame, and we'll see what happens Thursday.
Well, remember, they're reprimanding people. They were not happy about that.
You know what somebody needed to follow up, though, and ask? It's not that, do you think he's a Hall of Famer? Do you think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer? And because he goes, I think Bill's a Hall of Fame coach. I think Robert Kraft. I wrote something down. You want to hear this about the Patriots since 1994? Since 1994 and Bob Kraft owning the New England Patriots, they've been to 37.5% of the Super Bowls since 1994. That's the equivalent, Zander, of being in the Super Bowl every 2 years.
That's wild. That is wild.
And in the 60 Super Bowls, the Patriots have been to 20% of them. They've been there 12 times. They were under a different ownership. 12 times. That's 20%.
Yeah, 12 times 5, 60, no doubt. Holy mackerel.
20% of the time the New England Patriots have been there, and you don't put Robert Kraft. Robert Kraft has been to the Super Bowl. If I'm not mistaken, I think Jeffrey Lurie bought the team in '95. He took control of the team in '95. This guy did it a year earlier. This guy's been to 37.5% of these Super Bowls, and he's won 6 of them. How's that guy? I mean, you don't put that dude in the Hall of Fame? All right. Hey, let's read some of these supers. Guys, I appreciate you very much. Battle Royale will be with us. That'll be at the bottom of the hour here. Hey, I can't wait to – I'm going to ask the same question, Zander, to Mark Holmes. Does he think the Cowboys are a Super Bowl contender in 2026?
I don't think he can say yes to that yet.
You don't
think they have a chance to be. If they bring back Pickens, they already got Ferguson, CD. Their offensive line's intact. They got a good defensive line interior. I mean, think about this. If they draft or sign an edge.
Say they get Max Crosby.
I mean, they're going to be a pretty legit team. I know people don't want to hear that. I got bad news for you, all right? The truth doesn't care about your feelings. They're going to be a solid squad.
That's great.
They're going to be a solid squad. So we'll see.
The truth doesn't care about your feelings. That is a new big sales line. Sorry, dude. I'm stealing that. Let's go to the Supers.
I brought our lack of duos, traps, counters, and wham blocks up to J-Mac. He dismissed it and glazed Petunia.
Petunia. Thank you.
Not to be confused with Petunia. What's her name? Petunia Dursley. You know who that is?
No, but I know who Pagula is.
You know who Petunia Dursley is? You don't know?
No. I'll have to ask my wife and my kid. I'm sure it's something.
My bet would be your Aunt Betty would know. I don't know if your wife would know.
Okay.
Here's Kimberly. Chu told me Georgia linebacker coach signed to Dallas.
He did. I saw that. The linebacker coach is now a Dallas Cowboys. By the way, do you know why? Do you know that Christian Parker was recruited by the Georgia defensive coordinator a couple of years ago to go down there and coach? Remember when the Eagles were kicking a can around trying to think about hiring the D coordinator before Vic and hiring that guy? Well, the coordinator wanted to hire Christian Parker. So he took the linebacker coach away from him. Dude, they put a lot of good linebackers in the NFL. Dude, the Cowboys are going to be good this year. I got a feeling they're gonna be a good football team.
I agree.
Zander, I mean, this might be.
I said this a year ago, and I got ripped for it. I mean, I got ripped in JAKIB land. Here's Ramir. What's up, Ramir? AJ feels like he got put in the closet for Barkley. Yeah, he does.
He does.
Another thing Sileo said early.
He did.
PHLY Stupid Station says, if there isn't a no lineman that the Eagles want at 23, what position do they draft?
What do you think, Z?
Secondary or edge, right?
Okay, I'll add if AJ's gone.
I don't think they're going to go receiver in round 1. You can't replace AJ with another.
I don't believe that there's a dude in this draft down there for me to sit there and want a guy that bad unless I'm trading up. Tate's going to be a top 10 guy, right?
I think Cornell Tate from Ohio State. I would think so.
He's probably going to be a top 10 guy, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
So you go edge. What do you
I'd
make of
I'd probably go edge. I'd probably go. It depends how the board falls, but yeah, I'd probably lean edge.
How about Messidor?
Man,
I like that guy. He's a little bit smaller, though.
He's small, dude.
I'll tell you. Well,
did he play mostly interior or edge?
He played edge.
6'3", 280? I mean, how big's Nolan Smith? He's smaller than that, right?
He's 6'2", 218.
Nolan Smith is 240.
Nolan Smith is 240?
That's what it was, his original. He was 6'2", 240 at the draft, I guess.
Holy shit.
He's probably bigger than that now.
Wow.
6'3", 232 at the draft.
That's a great size. Except for the height.
230? That's so small, dude.
Except for the height.
You talking about Messidor or are you talking about Nolan?
Nolan.
Dude,
Well,
that's
you guys use your edges. You know, if you're comparing him to Myles Garrett,
I know, but dude, can't we get don't you want a fucking beast on the edge? Don't you? Is it just me? Am I the only guy that looks around at some of the edge rushers and I'm like, that motherfucker's a beast?
Okay.
I mean, Max Crosby's not 232 pounds.
Hey, let me give you
Myles Garrett's probably closer to 300.
Okay. So are you looking for a guy like this? So Zion Young, the kid from Missouri, he's 6'2", 262. He's 6'5", 262. And he's projected by Lance to go 17th. Is that
That's
what?
not bad.
Hey,
That's
by the
maybe
way,
an option. I'm going to go a little deeper into the draft this weekend and start to really prep for that.
do you agree? Lance Zierlein is the best.
Oh, dude, he's money. He's money. I go back and read his scouting reports nowadays. It's great. Like from previous players. Yeah, that really hits the nail on the head.
Man, I've been doing that for a
long time. All right, let's get through these supers. We got the Battle Royale coming up. Mark has had
you think Mark Holmes is going to think that the Cowboys are a contender? I asked you just a couple seconds ago, but I want to have him prepped up and ready to rock. You think 26 the Cowboys are going to be a Super Bowl contender?
I don't get the feeling that Mark is a delusional Cowboy guy. I really don't. I've never gotten that vibe. So I think he's going to say if they make the right moves, yeah, they're going to be. I mean, think about it. If they bring back that offense and they bring back Pickens, offensive line's intact. Everything's intact there if they get Pickens back. Ferguson's under contract. CeeDee's under contract. Dak's under contract. And they make the right moves with they got 4 first-round picks to play with. I mean, they got needs on defense. If they go get an edge and they increase and improve, I don't know, Mark will have a better feel on what to improve in the defense and secondary or whatever it might be. Linebackers, probably they know they need some line. Maybe they signed Nakobe Dean. Who knows? Yeah, I think they're going to be right there, dude. I mean, that offense was legit. I mean, that was a legit I tried telling everybody that all year, and I got fucking roasted for it every day in the chat. That was a damn good offense. So we'll say if they get their defense better.
There was a guy back in the day was a murderer. His name was Jim Jones, and he gave Kool-Aid. One thing I know about Cowboy fans, it's like Jerry Jones Kool-Aid. They drink that shit all in the offseason, boy. You want to know how to win a Super Bowl? You just listen to Cowboy fans. They win the offseason, boy.
Oh.
I can't wait. Let's get to the rest of these supers before Philly 500 gets in.
Here's Kyle. Sills, let's say Johnson comes back a year. Get Proctor, who's arm length between 33 and 35 inches. And we're already getting arm length, so no. I fucking hate that part of the draft. Well, his arm length. Tell you his arm length.
Hey, that's the rip on Bane.
Yeah, I know it is. I don't know. I watched that guy play. He can play ball. All right, you put a tape measure next to him, you start to pick out shit, Here's JD3. Stills, give me Nussmeier in the third. I like the kid and I like his dad as a coach. Get a good, cheap, young backup who can sit behind Hurts and learn. JD3 is going to be on this campaign all summer. He is done with Hurts, this guy.
Hey, JD3. You want that Nussmeier kid? I didn't really think shit of him this year at LSU. I didn't. I didn't think shit of him.
He had a bad year.
He did. Well, they blew the coach out.
Yeah.
And that didn't help, but
Coach was a
dude, I don't think he's that good. I don't know. Yeah. I don't really – dude, there's going to be 2 quarterbacks probably going to – Ty Simpson, Zander, is considered a first-round pick right now.
Yeah, you ripped my boy Ty.
Yeah, I don't think he's that hot. I don't
let me guess. You got Carson back as a first-rounder?
No, absolutely not. I think he's a 5th-rounder.
Here's Kilgore. We got these. All right, we got these. All right. Wait, one more. 2 more. Here's Korsky. TJ Parker going to be down. Guess who Proctor comparison is? It's Mailata. Yeah, I watched Proctor. I mean, he plays at Bama,
Yeah, but you're crazy if you think that Proctor's going to fall down that far, man. I mean, let me see where Lance has him looked at right now. So Proctor's at 14. Bro, you'd have to come up from 23.
Yeah, AJ and 23 to get me a top 10 pick.
Who are you trading with?
I don't know. You tell me. Who's there?
Baltimore.
What's their pick?
14.
Yeah, that's too rich. I don't want 14. AJ in the 23rd overall pick. I need a top 10. I need a top 10.
Cowboys are at 12.
No, I'm not trading with them. They got their receivers.
Well, that's if what's his name comes back. Well, shit.
I think they're going to tag him if he doesn't sign a deal.
Listen here, if I'm going to go.
Did you see Jalen Hurts throwing dots to George Pickens last night? I think Jalen Hurts threw 3 touchdowns last night in the jockstrap Pro Bowl games.
Not a shot.
And they were all the Cowboys. He had a Ferguson touchdown, a Pickens touchdown, and a CeeDee Lamb touchdown.
I'm not shocked he was good in touch football.
All right, good show, bro. Oh, wait, we got one more, and it's Brian Pumper.
Pump!
Uh-oh, new profile picture. Oh, man, what is that, Pump? He says, teach Jalen Hurts how to turn left and call it green steel. Ooh, Daryl Morey for trading our beloved fruitcake as me. I said when he got drafted, something tells me this guy's not going to work in Philly. Here we are. He's already traded.
Oh, my God. Pump, what the hell is that picture,
I don't know, dude. I don't know. I don't know.
Thank you guys for all the supers, man. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. Big Z, we are going to start getting into the draft. Here we go.
Yeah, man. It's time. It's time for me to lock in on the draft. All right, brother. Good show, man.
More, bro.
Later, dude.
You got it. That is Big Z. Make sure you catch out Birds 365. Did you see Jalen Hurts last night playing touch football? Man, he was throwing dots to all those Cowboy guys. Boy, he's got more of a love for the Cowboy guys than my boy Philly 500 does. I mean, Mark Holmes must have had a field day yesterday doing videos with all the Cowboy guys making touchdowns in the touch football game. There was Jalen leading a charge back in touch football or whatever that thing was. I mean, someone asked me, Sills, were you shocked that Jalen played well in the touch football? I go, no, I'm not shocked. Where was Dak? Where was Dak? All right, without further ado, one of the legendary men and one of the great content creators when it comes to your Dallas Cowboys. Will they be a contender in 2026 for the Super Bowl? And on the other side, one of the truly greats. He just shakes his head every time there's Cowboy talk. He is my friend, Philly 500, the legendary content creator for the Philadelphia Eagles. How you doing, guys? I appreciate you. What's going on?
Great.
Well, it's happening. How you guys?
How you doing, Philly?
I'm great. I couldn't complain. How about you?
You can't complain? Okay.
Why? About what? What would I complain about? Who would listen?
We do. I always listen, buddy.
I have nothing to complain about. You come on here like I have something to complain about. I have nothing to complain about.
Okay.
I'm good. My team is in the right direction. We're good.
You're
That's
right.
what it sounded like with Zander and
wow. Wait a minute.
Well, I don't listen to what they have to say. So
listen, hold on here now. Get this. We're going to go back and forth here. So I'm going to ask you the question that I started out with Zander today. So I'll ask you, Mark, do you believe your team will be a Super Bowl contending team heading into 2026? I mean, here, follow me here. You sign an edge rusher like Crosby. Okay. You get Crosby on that side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
You've improved your defense. You keep Pickens. Your offense was number 1 in the National Football League.
Yeah.
Don't you? If you get your defense to 15th instead of being the shitty 32nd, how do you not look at yourself as a Super Bowl contender?
If you're putting those scenarios there, then you have to. You would have to say that they would be a Super Bowl contender. But we're talking about the Cowboys and Jerry Jones. Will they do anything?
I thought you got better this year. I thought you got better.
We did. We got younger, but the defense, of course, was just a complete pooch screw. But yeah, if we can get the defense to 15 and get ourselves some tackles and keep George Pickens, yeah, that team you would have to look at it and say you are, because the difference between the teams that are there, if you add that to them, you're not far away. You did beat the Eagles one time with the sorry ass defense that we had.
Well, Mark did see Crosby at the Dallas airport, right? That Dallas was going to get him then. They was at the airport in Dallas, Mark. Breaking news.
Wait. It's not my fault.
In the airport.
It's not my fault that all white guys with tattoos look alike.
Uh-huh.
I'll tell you what, though, Mark. So Christian Parker's there, right? What if he adds a Kobe Dean and Jalen Phillips to your defense?
That would definitely help. We need Zander was saying, if they have Max Crosby, but we've got problems across the board. We definitely need linebackers, and Nakobe Dean would be definitely an upgrade. Overshown should be better having the offseason now coming back from the ACL, or actually complete knee rebuild, but we still need help in the secondary as well. So yes, there are some positive things out there. I don't know how Philly 500 would like seeing that happen, seeing Nakobe come to Dallas with Christian Parker.
So let me go to the man here then. Do you believe right now, Philly, that you sitting right now? Now, look, we're going to change this up because obviously March 11th we start the new year in the NFL. That's free agency begins. Also, to the April 23rd drafts coming up in about 79 days or so. Think about that. March 11th is right around the corner. We're talking about
we haven't even had the Super Bowl yet. So
isn't that crazy? That shows you how the NFL works so fast. Do you believe right now on February 4th, Jerome Brown's birthday, do you believe that you are a Super Bowl contending roster?
Do I believe the Eagles are?
Yes.
Yeah, I do. I thought they were one last year as well. I don't think they got the most out of the talent that they had. But from a talent perspective, I do. Yeah. Now, a lot's got to happen this whole season, but right now, where we stand, where the roster is right now on a team, yeah, I think they are. But a lot's got to happen.
How about this too, Philly? You believe that Landon Dickerson is going to bounce back? Do you know I looked up his injury history? He's got 13 injuries and surgeries that he's had heading into this next one he has. I mean, why am I to believe that he's going to be getting healthier or better when this will be number 14? The Cam Jurgens is an issue. Lane Johnson.
Cam Jurgens scares me more than Landon. Landon, like you said, he's come back from injuries before, so he's kind of done it. Cam worries me. Lane, if Lane's healthy, I think he'll be all right another year if he comes back. But if we're judging it today on the roster today, he's still playing. So I think he'll be fine. But they got work to do. There's no question about it.
Mark, this is 11th year coming up for Dak, right? This is year 11.
Yeah.
Is Dak ever going to win a Super Bowl in Dallas?
That's a good question. Now, if you listen to Jerry Jones, he wants to retire with more Super Bowl wins than anybody else. So I guess he's never retiring. The Cowboys could put together a team if they want to. It's not, I don't think it's ever been a can they, it's really will they. If they flip the triggers on Dak, CD, and Quentin Williams, and you can go down the line, they can get $120 million of cap space very easily. Will the Cowboys actually be a player? They talk the talk, but, the first week, 2 weeks of free agency, usually they're on vacation. So if they don't, no, they won't win one. They're going to have to.
Do you believe that the failures of the Cowboys in the postseason have been non-Dak related?
Some are and some aren't. Dak did not have a great game with San Francisco, but he's had good ones too. The bigger problem is in the playoffs, you have to stop the run. Bottom line. And every time we get to the playoffs, we've not been able to run the football and not been able to stop the run, in which case you put everything on the quarterback, and throwing into tight windows when a team knows you can't run is damn near impossible when you're playing elite talent.
Philly, look at this here. Happy heavenly birthday to one of my favorite Eagles. Today is Jerome Brown's birthday today. And also, how about this one? 8 years ago today, the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Patriots to win the Super Bowl. What was your first reaction? And I'll go ask Mark what his was. What was your first reaction when the Eagles 8 years ago won their very first Super Bowl?
I'm not going to sleep. I don't believe it. I'm not going to sleep. I didn't sleep for 3 days because I was so afraid I was going to wake up and it was a dream. So I was afraid to go to sleep because I could not believe that it actually happened. There were times, I thought it was never going to happen. So no, it took a couple of days to feel real. That's for sure.
That stuff that you go back and you remember, seriously, the words you say, aren't they stuff like this? Holy shit, we won. I mean, like that, right?
Yeah. I was afraid to go to sleep. Like, I literally didn't sleep. I was coming on here like this, like, because I had not slept. I was like, I'm gonna wake up. This is gonna be a dream. I'm not doing it. No, this is crazy.
So, as a Cowboy fan, Mark, how did you feel about your nemesis winning their first Super Bowl?
I have to tell you, I was there in Minneapolis for that Super Bowl.
Okay.
And I was right on the aisle seat, and opposite of us, there was a couple who had been season ticket holders since 1973. And it's an older couple, they were excited about being there at the Super Bowl with their team and hoping that they would win. And actually watching them go through the emotions of that game and everything else. And then when they won, just slobbered all over. It's like, oh, man, get a room. I actually felt good for them to finally get that. Now, I knew right then all of the jokes that we had to go away, the ringless wonders and all that stuff. But I was actually happy for the Eagles when they did win that game.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me when the Red Sox won and had, knocked down the curse of the babe. It reminded me of like when the Cubs had 100 years of not winning the World Series. It was stuff like that where, dude, I thought my lifetime too, seeing the Eagles ever win a championship. I knew they had gotten there. They got there with Vermeil and they got there with Andy.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're never going to get there. They're going to be like the Bengals. They're going to be like one of those teams. They're going to be like the Browns. They're not going to win it, but they did. And by the way, they've continued it, right, Philly? I mean, ever since that Super Bowl, it's been the best era of football since that Super Bowl night in Minneapolis, right?
Yeah, they went to 2 more since then, and they won 1. So no, it's been great. And I say, let's not stop this train now. Let's keep it going.
So, hey, Mark, we're going to keep it going. You know how the Eagles are going to keep it going? They hired a 33-year-old nobody. So let me ask you this.
I love it. John Minnow.
No. Hey, Philly, this coach has been a coach for 25 months. That's your new OC. So let me set the room up for him, Mark. Kevin Patullo's actually called plays. Nick Sirianni's actually called plays. The guy, Josh Grizzard, their pass coordinator, was the OC down in Tampa last year.
Yeah.
Guess who the only guy that's never called plays in that offense?
Let me guess. The offensive coordinator.
How do you feel?
How do I know
that, Billy?
You know what? To be honest with you, I think sometimes that's a bit overrated. Not saying that it's not important. It is, but I also think you can either do it or you can't do it. You can either figure it out or you can't figure it out. And so Nick Sirianni called plays, but they have been horrendous. Patullo called plays, but they were horrendous. You're going to tell me this guy has some upside that he's looked with great eyes around the league? I'll say give him a chance. I like it better than getting Matt Nagy in here or getting a retread guy that's been to multiple places. Give me somebody new that can see stuff a little differently. I'll take a chance on it. So, yeah, I'm okay with it. You can either call plays or you can't call plays. He's either going to figure it out or he's not. That's how I see it.
Mark, the number one area of need and the number one concern in the offseason for the Dallas Cowboys is what?
God, there's so many. To narrow it down to one, I'm going to say edge rusher. We've got to get better on the edges.
So you don't think that kid you got a year ago made enough of an impact?
I think he did, but we'll have to wait and see how well he goes. Now, with we're looking at probably more 5-man fronts. It looks like we're probably going to go to a 3-4 defense, in which case he'll end up becoming an outside linebacker. We'll see how he goes in there because that's truly our strength is our defensive line. But I'm going to still say you want a beast out there at edge rushing. I mean, if we trade for Max Crosby, hey, great. That would be a major step up because we could not put pressure on quarterbacks and we could not take away the football.
What do you make of Caleb Downs? Somebody like that the Cowboys could maybe take a look at corner there. Would you be in a room with that? Because they need some help back there in that secondary too.
They definitely do. I think and part of the thing that Schottenheimer has talked about is getting guys that can teach. that because they look at a guy like Savon Ravel, who would have been probably a first-round draft pick for sure had he not tore his ACL, but being a raw talent, trying to get Deron Bland back to where he was, a couple of years ago before the injuries and things. But Caleb Downs would definitely be an upgrade to me. So it's like you could look at edge rusher, you can look at linebacker, you can look at cornerback. Any one of those places are going to improve this defense. But them by themselves are not going to be enough. You're going to have to go in free agency, and you're going to have to bring in some other people and spend some money to really fix this thing.
Philly, do you believe that Howie Roseman had a good year last year?
What are you laughing about?
Yeah.
What the fuck's wrong with you?
It's always the fluffy question for Mark, and it's always like, I'm going to dig at the Eagles.
All right, wait. Let me reel this back in. Let me reel it back in.
Let's talk about another negative that you guys have going.
All right. Let me reel that back in, and I'll save that. Hang on. Let me put that over here. Like are you saying I'm setting an attack on you here a little bit here? All right. What do you do at 23, in your opinion? I think that's hilarious, by the way. Tell me what you do at 23. Edge, O-lineman, or is what goes down with A.J. Brown dictate that 23rd pick?
That really, if A.J. got traded, that could affect it, I think. But I'm going to say, and I said this so far, I think you got to go offensive line with one of the first two picks. I think you need another right guard, possibly a center. So I would go offensive line actually over any other position as of right now. With AJ getting traded, if he got traded, and I still don't believe that's going to happen, but if he was, then I think that could change things a little bit.
Mark, I'm being accused of throwing softball questions at you right now. I'm being accused by everybody here now, giving you the softball and railroading my boy over here, Philly 500.
After the ride he had and me just literally getting bent over every week? Are you serious?
I mean, Philly, I
just was responding. I wasn't saying you can't ask me. I just thought it was funny.
Okay, how do you think? Here, look, I'll so that I can make that question, I'm going to go back and visit him on. How do you think Jerry Jones did this past season? Trading away Micah Parsons and adding Quentin Williams, though, to your football team and Clark. And I think you got better on defense, actually. How do you think Jerry did?
Potentially the defense got better.
Okay.
And the problem, of course, with Micah is he's an undersized edge rusher who, when you end up getting in playoffs and you have people running at him, it's not a good fit. So if you're saying the choice is having Micah Parsons, who's a game wrecker, without a doubt, but not being able to stop the run when it comes to playoffs, we weren't going to go anywhere with that defense right there. I think potentially if the Cowboys end up using that number one pick and getting a stud, you have to look at it and say Jerry Jones won that trade. At the moment, you have to look at it and say Jerry won that trade. The whole thing, though, about the coaching staff, Matt Eberflus and that crew, that just didn't work. But you're seeing Brian Schottenheimer is definitely taking the lead on this, and they are very methodical with really turning over every rock, trying to find a good group of coaches. What are you smiling about there?
I'm smiling because I've got to make sure that I, have a fluffy question here now here for Philly, because I don't want to get accused throwing hater.
No, ask me whatever you want. I just thought it was funny. No, I don't care.
It is.
You ask me whatever.
All right.
You asked me why I was laughing.
Hey, well, here we go. So how do you think what kind of year do you think Howie had this past year?
I think it was a little bit of an off year, to be honest with you. I think winning the Super Bowl, I think they did maybe in some ways one too many moves and in the wrong ways, and then in other ways I think they didn't do enough moves. Like, for example, I don't think there was any reason to get rid of C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I still don't understand that move. It was like one of those moves you didn't need to make. They claimed it was for salary cap reasons, but it wasn't. And then in other ways, I just felt like they were already looking for this year. Like they were worried about the big contracts with Carter, and they got to sign these guys. So I think they were looking 3 years down the road instead of the next year. And I think it was a little bit of an off year for him.
Can I interject real quick?
Sure.
Your defense was number one. That wasn't your team's problem. So getting rid of C.J. Gardner does not look like a bad move. It's not like you.
Well, it did look like a bad move because we struggled multiple weeks. Yeah, but early in the year we struggled at the safety position. It was a battle that you didn't need to have. It was like, and then Makuba gets hurt. And if you look at the safety playing next to Reed down the stretch, it wasn't great. I mean, it wasn't good enough.
It was as bad as my shit was.
Yeah, but you guys naturally stunk. We didn't need to. We didn't need to create that.
Oh my. Okay. So, okay, Philly, you think we've seen the best of Jalen Hurts?
No. I think once, and hopefully it'll be with this coordinator. Once you get a coordinator that will actually take the handcuffs off the kid and let him go out and play, I think you were going to see more, and I think he's going to take it to another level. I hope we're going to. I'll tell you this: I do believe we're going to find the answer though this year. We're going to know this year.
Now, the contention that I've been saying this, Mark, you tell me too. I said that the reason that they hired this 33-year-old guy, and that this is going to put Nick Sirianni in the bullseye even more, because if this shit's the bed here, you're going to blow this guy out at the end of 26. Do you not agree, Philly? I mean, if this thing shits the bed again by a first-year play caller and this thing doesn't go sideways here, doesn't that give them a better off-ramp? Because if the reports are right from Jeff McClain, from the Inquirer, saying that there was thought process that the owner was going to fire him twice, you blow this thing here with this talent that you have on the team, if that's all in the likelihood that you bring AJ back and you shit the bed here, I mean, Philly.
Yeah.
Sirianni's
I do think
for 26.
He could be, and that may not be the worst thing for us. I'm just going to be honest. So yeah, I think it's possible, but I do think that getting the outside coordinator, getting somebody who hopefully will change the offense a little more, I really think it's going to show. It's really going to end this debate whether is Jalen Hurts the quarterback or is it the coach? Is it the quarterback? We're going to know. I think that's the one thing that we'll get out of this season is we'll know who's the problem more than anything.
Mark, do you believe Dak Prescott's a better quarterback than Sam Darnold?
Yes. I do. Yeah. The difference, you can go through, for example, Trevor Lawrence is on a, 13-win team? Do you look and say Trevor Lawrence is a better quarterback than Dak Prescott? No. They had the 9th-rated defense. Seattle gets takeaways. They give your offense more opportunities, good field position, and so on. Now, that's not to say that Sam Darnold hasn't played great during the stretch, and he's been playing great in the playoffs. He's a really good quarterback. He has turned around his career. But if you're saying apples and oranges, if it's just quarterback to quarterback, I think Dak is better.
How about this, though? So in the last 2 years, he's won 31 ball games. He's 31-8. He's 2-1 in the playoffs. He's won an NFC championship. He did this with 2 different teams, 2 different regimes. He was in Minnesota with a completely different personnel, completely different coaching staff, and he duplicates and actually elevates in Seattle. See, I think it's more about the organization, Mark, than more about the player. I think organizations don't – you keep constantly saying this, right, Philly? Doesn't Mark say this all the time? The Cowboys, you believe, have failed the Cowboys. The Cowboys have failed Dak, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Dak,
well, doesn't that
you can
apply
go
to
down the
Sam
line.
Darnold? That has to apply to Sam Darnold then, too, that those other organizations like the Jets and Carolina failed him too, right?
Yeah. That's a true statement. That is a true statement. You can't look at, with Sam Darnold, Minnesota's defense was really good.
It was. Brian Flores.
Same thing with Seattle. And see, when you are in a position where you don't have to win the game every single time, you are going to have games where you're going to have to step up, but you can't have it every single week that we're going to live and die on what the quarterback does. And that's literally what the Cowboys have done.
Philly, do you believe that Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Sam Darnold?
I think right now you have to say no. I think Sam Darnold, he's won a lot of games in 2 years, and if he goes on to win a Super Bowl, I don't know how you can say that.
Now, isn't Sam in the same position that Jalen is with this conversation here? And by the way, no shade. This is not shade on Jalen. This is more shade on the organizations that failed Sam Darnold on where this guy is. Don't you agree? If you have a top five defense, like the Eagles did a year ago where they won, they were number one. And Sam Darnold could throw 4 picks, right? Like he did in that Rams game, in the first Rams game, and almost win that game. They lost by 3 in that game on the road in Los Angeles. So my point is, guys, would you rather have an elite quarterback or would you rather have an efficient quarterback like Hurts and Darnold in an elite roster? To me, I'd rather have the elite roster, right?
Yeah, but you've got to have a quarterback that can win in those situations.
And doesn't lose you.
Darnold proved, and the big question with Darnold was the same question that I have with Dak Prescott. Darnold had to go out and show that in the playoffs, in the big moments, he can deliver and he could step up, and he did. I think so far. Now he's got to go finish it off. Jalen has gone and finished it off. Dak has not finished it off, and that's the truth. That's the difference. So if you ask me, who would I rather have? Darnold, Hurts, or a Dak Prescott? I'll take Darnold and Hurts over the guy that doesn't win the playoffs every single time.
Look at Mark. Mark, I want to throw something at ownership to you guys. I want to show you something because I brought this up to Zander. You want to hear this? So since the Super Bowl is going to be 60 years old, the New England Patriots have been to 12 Super Bowls. That's 20% of the Super Bowls that have ever been played. And since Kraft owned the team in 94, listen to this one, Philly. Since they owned the team in 94, Bob Kraft has been to 37.5% of the Super Bowls, which means every 2 years, the Patriots have been in the Super Bowl. I'll ask you first, Mark. Why is Bob Kraft a better owner than Jerry Jones?
He has football people doing football things instead of putting his hands all over it. Jerry Jones has run the Cowboys as a mom and pop shop with his chemical engineer son as the capologist, cap boy, AKA, trying to deal with contracts and stuff and letting his emotions be in here, trying to say, I'm the big dog. I'm the one that's going to win this because of the shadows of Jimmy Johnson. That's the difference.
Philly, why is Bob Kraft a better owner than Jeffrey Lurie? Or do you think that?
I mean, look, the guy's been to how many Super Bowls and won how many?
11, 6.
I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, you got to give credit where credit is due. Now, I like Jeffrey Lurie. I actually think he does a really good job. But I mean, look, Kraft's been to. We'll see. I mean, we'll see. Can he win? Can he finish it with Brady not there? I mean, I think having Brady, you can't deny that helps a lot when you have Tom Brady as the quarterback. So, and Bill Belichick. So to me, you got to give him credit where credit is due. But let's see what happens Sunday first.
I think it's a blowout. I mean,
I think Seattle's going to win.
Yeah, I think Seattle's going to win. You know what? I'll take that back. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be like 28-20. I think it's going to be somewhere in there. And I'm going to ask you first, Mark. Who do you like on Sunday? And why?
Seattle. I'm going to still go back to New England. Great record. They beat the teams in front of them. But I still go back to that 11 of the games that they played were against teams that fired their coach. You didn't have the top quarterbacks that you were playing and facing week after week. And I think with Seattle being a West Coast team, it's they're used to playing in San Francisco. I just think that Seattle has the advantages.
Let me show you the coaching difference, guys. I'll get to you, Philly, here in a minute. Get this. So you have Mike Vrabel. You have Mike McDonald, 2 savant defensive coaches, head coaches. You got Josh McDaniels and Clint Kubiak as your offensive coordinators. I mean, these might just be the best coached football teams, and that's why these guys are also there in the playoffs, because we saw coaching matter, right? Especially Philly in the San Francisco-Philadelphia game. We saw coaching matter. Who do you like on Sunday, brother? And why?
I like Seattle. I like Seattle. I like their defense, and I like their run game. I like the way they run the ball. I think their offense is pretty balanced attack, and I just think they're going to be too much for the Patriots. So I'm taking Seattle.
Your favorite player's birthday today, Jerome Brown. What do you make of that?
Yeah,
would have been 60.
I love Jerome Brown, man. That would have been, I often wonder what it would have been like if he would have stayed. What would that have been like? Yeah, very well could have. But man, I still to this day haven't seen anybody like Jerome Brown as far as I'm concerned. He was amazing, man.
I got to give you a story on the Cowboys, Mark, on every time that the Eagles played the Cowboys when Jerome was on the Eagles and Jimmy was the head coach of the team. Mm-hmm. So those guys never, ever really wanted to meet before the game, like before the game and the kickoff. So you know what they would do? The night before, they would kind of have like a meeting. They would meet somewhere secretly because these guys had so much love for one another, but they didn't want to show anything on the football field because of their competitive edges.
Yeah.
So one night, Jerome, get this, Jerome picks Jimmy up. Philly, you're going to love this. They went to a Mexican place there in Dallas, right next to Campese's. Okay, so they go there. Jerome gets something to eat. He eats. So Jimmy, he goes, I got to go to the bathroom. So he goes to the bathroom. He walks out the back door. He leaves Jimmy there. Jimmy, the guy, the restaurant guy comes in and goes, where'd Jerome go? He goes, oh, he left out the back door and said, Coach, I'll see you Sunday. Coach, I'll see you Sunday.
Oh,
that's my boy. That's my boy.
That's some shit there, man. Oh, damn.
This was in Dallas. So, hey, man, those rivalries, the body bag game and all that shit. I mean, Philly, that was when really that rivalry was at its all-time high. No,
that was great. That was great. Nobody helped each other off the ground. Yeah, I loved it, man. I hate Dallas. Go. I like it. Go. Let's get Zendaya. Let's pop.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Little bounty bowl here. Little snowballs thrown Jimmy's way. Let's go.
Let's go, man. Guys, you guys are great.
That's the way it is.
I got you guys. Yes. I think it's all Seattle too on Sunday, man. I know a lot of people are pulling for the Patriots to see if they can win that ball game. Hey, real quick, what'd you make of Bob Kraft not getting in now to the Hall of Fame? The greatest owner, the greatest coach not in.
Yeah, that surprises me. I guess they're making him pay for it for the possible cheating and stuff. But yeah, it's crazy. Well, I think
they couldn't not put Belichick in and then turn around and put Kraft in because you can't look at one without the other.
So then this has to.
It doesn't make any sense either way because you've got the winningest owner and the winningest coach that they're not first ballot Hall of Famers.
So wait a minute. That means it has to affect Brady then too.
It won't. There's no chance. No chance.
Because he proved it also in Tampa Bay. He's got more rings than anybody else. I mean, if they do that, then they need to burn the place down.
Yeah, they do need to. Guys, I appreciate you very much.
Thank you, man.
You got it.
Awesome.
Philly 500 and a legendary Mark Holmes. Absolutely. Yeah, he's right. If they don't put in Tom Brady on the first ballot, they need to burn the place down. All right, we got to pay some bills here. Morgan & Morgan, our number one injury law firm in all of America, with over $30 billion recovered, folks. They are the number one injury law firm in America for a reason. It's because they win. Simple as that. And again, if you're ever injured, this will be the easiest decision you ever make in your life, is going with my friends at Morgan & Morgan. It's family run. It's family owned. This is what they do. They've been on a mission the entire time for over 25 years. Do me a favor. Go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound love 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound love 529. And do me a favor. Tell them Big Sil sent you.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, He called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Do me a favor, guys. Please hit the like button. We appreciate you being here. I can't wait for Super Bowl 60. I'll tell you this, though. There is absolutely zero buzz about this ball game. I mean, the game's probably going to get more than 127 million. But you got to remember something a year ago. You had the Eagle team that was on a run. You had a running back that was killing it. You had Travis Swift and Taylor Swift that were part of the whole Kansas City thing. They were going for a three-peat. You had Patrick Mahomes. You had Hurts. You had all of that and that dynamic going in that Super Bowl. So there was some punch. And by the way, you know, I think it's got something to do with the teams and the quarterbacks. You got Drake May and Sam Darnold. That's not really marquee names when it comes to selling the game. Right? I mean, yeah, Travis Swift and his girlfriend were one of the storylines in the ball game. And I'm like, yeah, well, okay, so there was more storyline. In this one here, you don't really have it. You know what you have? Can I tell you? I think you got people doing this. Holy shit, not again, the Patriots. Nobody's rooting for New England. No way. Because nobody wants to see this. They're back. The New England Patriots haven't sucked long enough for them to, like, be back in this game. Usually when you go through a time where you've won a lot of games, you're not very good for an extended period of time. Some organizations never recover. Look at the Dolphins. Dolphins were iconic in the 70s. They've never been iconic since. They've never recovered from that. Okay, they've never been kind of during the Marino years, they were kind of good, but they weren't good enough. They got to one Super Bowl, I think in Marino's second year, maybe. I don't think they got there his first year. I think they got there his second year. And he was 23. Drake May's 23, by the way. Seals, Pats ain't played nobody. That was an easy path to the Super Bowl. I don't know, man. I mean, they were 9-0 on the road. And I don't subscribe to that. So get this. Now, Seattle has played, obviously, in the NFC West. So they're more primed and ready to play. So I would agree. Second year, thank you, Denny. Nobody cares. None of my friends are having a party. None of them. Yeah, I find that hard to believe that nobody in your home slacker is going to watch it. So you're not going to watch the Super Bowl? I know your friends are having parties. Everybody has parties on Super Bowl Sunday. The Pats played top 5 defenses all through the playoffs. I will say this. I think that's a great number that Mark Holmes brought up, that all those coaches that were fired, those are teams that the Patriots played. So I think the Ravens take Peter Woods at 14. Yeah, we're going to start getting more into the draft next week. I love the draft. I do 3 a year, and guess what? With all the ones that I've suggested to you guys, they've all gone on to do. I told you if you took Bijan Robinson, that you would love the player. Sure enough, he's turned out to be a spectacular player. Do you remember I told you about Devin Lloyd? Devin Lloyd is a spectacular player. Remember I told you about the corner with Kansas City? I was right on that as well. Who else? I said that Jalen Carter would be a great pick. I told you that kid, the kid that got Edrin Cooper from Texas A&M, that kid would be a great pick. He turned out to being a great pick for the Green Bay Packers, I believe. So there were McDuffie. If you remember right, Kyle, I told everyone, I said, you should draft this guy, McDuffie. I think this guy's going to be a spectacular player. And sure enough, he turned out to be an all-pro. So we're pretty good on this. I mean, you know, we're good on the picks. And we because you know what I do? I actually ask and go through Bledsoe, and I'll talk to Alonzo Highsmith. I'll talk to Elliott Wolf of the Patriots. I talked to Dan Morgan of the Carolina Panthers. We talked to people. By the way, you know who a dear friend of mine is? It's Carl Dunbar. Carl Dunbar works out the defensive line at the combines. And Carl gives me kind of like, when I ask him, like, what do you make of this guy? What do you think of this guy? What do you make of him? And I don't really like him that much, but I don't tell you which ones he doesn't like. But he gives me a list of his top 5 guys that he sees in the draft. And then I look at who they have. So I give you my assessment that way. Sills, when Jimmy went to coach Miami, which he butting heads with Marino, too stubborn to adapt Jimmy's style. It's a great take. So, Denny, here's what happened. Jimmy Johnson went to Miami. And his first press conference, just so you know, Jimmy Johnson, out of retirement, he gets the Miami Dolphins job. His first press conference. Well, we're going to do a lot of things differently offensively, and we're going to energize the offense. Dan Marino was so offended by that. They were 4th in offense. That he was so offended that it started right there, the adversarial relationship. But Jimmy's contention was energizing meant giving Dan a running game. Marino never had a running game. He had one 1,000-yard rusher in 17 years in Miami. Jimmy thought that was atrocious, a Shula, not to have a running game. There was one 1,000-yard back in his entire 17 years. And Marino was offended. And they butted heads. They brought in Gary Stevens, and they tried to create a zone running game. Dan would always audible out of the run plays. And it aggravated Jimmy. So Jimmy went upstairs to Bob Ackles, and they went to Wayne Huizinga, who owned the team at the time, and went to him and said, we got to get rid of Dan Marino. Wayne Huizinga went, come again? He goes, we got to get rid of Marino. We'll work the trade. Huizinga had given Jimmy total autonomy on personnel, like he had in Dallas. So he constructed a trade to send Dan Marino to Pittsburgh. The deal was in place. Jimmy goes up. He's going to make the call. Bob Ackles and him walk in. Bob Ackles was the Jimmy that helped build the team in Dallas. They walk in. Wayne Huizinga says no. Jimmy looked at him and said, we'll never win then. And Huizinga goes, he's our most popular player. Jimmy goes, I traded the best player away in Herschel Walker, and we won 3 Super Bowls. And Wayne Huizinga said, no. And there lies the story of why Marino never won. And if you remember Marino's press conference when he retired, he never mentioned Jimmy. There was an adversarial relationship, and Jimmy had had enough. So fast forward a little bit longer, Jimmy said this, if I were you, I would try to get Troy Aikman. There was a deal in place to get Aikman out of retirement, to be the quarterback for 2 years in Miami for Dave Wannstedt. Because I think they had guys like Cleo Lemon and some other guy down there. I can't remember who they had. Jay Fiedler. And it came this close. Aikman at the end said, because Aikman, remember, he retired because of concussions. And Aikman was all for running the ball. He was later in his years. But Aikman said, I want one jersey. I'm going to retire Cowboy. I don't want to have another jersey. I don't want to play for anybody else. So Troy at the 23rd hour said no to the Miami Dolphins. Not many people know that. But Troy Aikman had a contract, and he was thinking of coming out of retirement. I think Troy since has made a comment that the Dolphins, he was close to signing with the Miami Dolphins. And he was going to and he was going to play. So that's the story of Marino. They never built a run game in Miami around him. That's why they failed. Do you get this? Correct, Kyle. That's exactly right. And Elway bought it. They got Terrell Davis, and that's why Elway won those 2. They won those 2 because Elway agreed with Mike Shanahan. You're right. We got to run the ball. Got to run the ball. Can't throw the ball. Got to run the ball. Well, that's kind of where the Eagles are right now. Okay? I mean, Aikman didn't remember playing one Super Bowl. I think he got hurt in a playoff game. And I think it was the Super Bowl at the Rose Bowl against the Bills. Or it might have been the one, I can't remember, the following year from that one, that he said that he didn't remember playing in the Super Bowl. He had a really big concussion. He had a really big concussion issue, as Steve Young did at the end of his career too. Sills, Troy also told a story about how Andy Reid reached out to him to fill in for McNabb during 2000, I believe. I believe that. I believe Andy. I know Andy has great respect for Troy Aikman. I know that for a fact. Tremendous respect. So, what is worse, Allen never being able to make it to a Super Bowl or Jim Kelly 4 Super Bowls? Man, never getting there, I think, has to be the worst. I think at least getting your 4 swings. You're there at least. And it takes a team effort. That's a politician's answer, Walter. Yeah, I never getting there. Never being able to have a chance to get there would probably be the worst. I mean, I don't think you realize how many great Hall of Famers have never been there because of shitty teams. Like, Myles Garrett's never getting there unless he changes teams. He's never getting there. Jim Kelly, who's been on here numerous times, I always introduce him as AFC champion, 4-time AFC champion. As a matter of fact, you're never going to see that again. Four times a team gets to the Super Bowl? No way. Man, if they would have just won 1, it would have solidified that entire dynasty. It would have been a dynasty. Nobody's going to do the kind of winning that those guys did. What did they go? So what did they go? They went 3-3. So they went 12-4. And they lost the last game. In that time, right? They went 12-4. During that time, those 4 Super Bowls in the playoffs, 12-4, and you lose the one game. You lose the Super Bowl 4 times, and you do it consecutively. I agree with you, Coyote. That's got to be painful. I don't care what anybody says. You go 12-4 in the playoffs in 4 years. Nobody's done that. Nobody's won 12 games in a row. Or nobody's won 12 games in 4 years. I don't even think the Patriots have done that. During that Brady run, 12-4 is freaking crazy great. Getting there and losing it is the worst feeling. Now, that's true, too. Again, just, it's crazy. I'll give you guys, again, I never got to a Super Bowl, but I got to championship games. So I got to a championship game, obviously, twice in college. And we got to, actually 3 times we went to a championship game. We lost 2. And we won 1. I got to a championship game in the pros, but it wasn't in the NFL. It was in the NFL's Europe. We got to a championship game. We were something like 9. We were like 10-2. And then we played in Montreal. And that's the team that Goldberg was on. And also a bunch of NFL guys were on it. What's his name? Quarterback for the Lions. You guys remember? What was his name? Guy who quarterbacked the Lions. It was our quarterback in Orlando. And we were up 17-6 or something at the half, and we lost. They came back and beat us. That stunk. So that we were up. I was going to win a championship in the pros, and we were that close to winning. And there was about 65,000 there that night. No, not Kramer. What was his name? He played at Utah, and he played for the Dolphins. Actually, all league, kid. Thank you. I can't remember what that guy's name was. Oh, man, he backed up Marino. He backed up Marino in Miami, and then he got to Detroit, and he became a starting quarterback in Detroit. Yeah, I would think losing those 4 Super Bowls. I know Jim has said it numerous times, that he Scott Mitchell. That's it. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Yeah, Scott Mitchell. He was the quarterback of our team. He signed a big-time deal. James Harrison played in that league. Yeah, he was in the World League. I think James Harrison's a Hall of Fame player. Kind of hard to remember Lions quarterbacks. Yeah. Cosmo Kramer. Yeah. Scott Mitchell was pretty good, dude. He was a pretty good player. He was. Philly beat him in the playoffs. Oh, Philly beat Scott Mitchell? That's right. They beat that Detroit team. Detroit had some pretty good teams back in the 90s under Wayne Fonts. I was on that. I was on one of those Detroit teams for a little bit. Yeah, those Detroit teams were good. That's when Lomas was on there. Seals, the 70s Vikings with Tarkington and the Purple People Eaters lost 4. He didn't lose 4. He lost 3. Joe Kapp was the other quarterback for the Vikings that lost the Super Bowl. True Tarkington lost 3. The Purple People Eaters did lose 4, though, with Page and Eller and Marshall and them dudes. Yeah. I forget the other guy's name. Larson, I think his name was. Yeah, they lost 4. The Purple People Eaters. Alan Page is one of the greatest players of all time. Jason, let's see here. I was like 10. Fishing Maniac, great. Sills, is that the new Miami swag? I don't have it yet. I'm still trying to get a hold of Mario. Mario's on the road. I have not. I've sent him a text 3 times. I go, hey, I need new gear. Hey, I need new gear. I haven't got new gear in over a year. I usually get new gear every year. So even in the cap era, the Niners been to 5, I think. The Niners, when they were run by John McVay and by Bill Walsh, and they set that all up. John McVay, that's the grandfather of Sean McVay. When they set that all up, it was one of the greatest franchises of all time. Just great. That's after 82. I think 84. I think 86. And I think there was another one because they won 5 Super Bowls. So they've won 5. 94 was Young's year. 94 was Steve Young. They beat the Chargers in 94. 2012, they lost to the Ravens. That was Kaepernick. 19, they lost to the Chiefs, and then 23, they lost to the Chiefs. So you lost to Natty, and that was painful. I imagine no different. Yeah, it's still to this day. Losing that national championship because, as I've told you guys, that was the Jerome and I were on that team together. And losing that one, we would have been considered the greatest team in the history of college football. And we had just killed everybody. We were giving up 1.4 yards per play against the run. I think there was only 4 first. Get this. I think we only gave up 4 rushing touchdowns that year. Something crazy. Like 4 rushing touchdowns. We gave up. Yeah, it was like 1.9 yards per rush against us. You couldn't run the ball on us. Jerome and I were so offended by anyone who could run the ball. I think our DB, Benny Blades, had 10 or 11 picks that year. Stubbs had 17 sacks. I mean, that defense was just – I think we had 50 sacks in 12 games. If you count the bowl game, which they do now, we had 49 to end the year, and we had like 6 in the championship game. So we had like 55 sacks in 12 games. We just were – it was a destructive team. It's the most – I mean, I've never been on anything like it. I mean, guys were just – we took quarterbacks out. We broke quarterbacks up. Nobody was close to us. Like I said, we held that Penn State team to 150 yards in offense. Lost. 7 turnovers doomed us. We couldn't get over. We could overcome 6. We couldn't overcome the 7th turnover. They had like 5 interceptions and 2 fumbles. We just couldn't overcome it. Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I sent I sent D Brown happy birthday to his pop today. So when they go see the grave today over in Brooksville, it's where he's buried. Make sure you said Big Sil said hi. So yeah, this is a great football team too. It's a great football team. Sil's out of the 2001 Miami class. Who was the best first rounder in that draft? 17 of the first rounders were Miami kids. It's crazy. Shows you the talent in South Florida. A 2001 Canes team. The best guy off that 2001 Hurricanes. So that was the 2002 NFL draft. The 2002 NFL draft, the best Hurricane. Bryant McKinney went. Philip Buchanan went. Ed Reed. Clinton Portis was great. Whew. How many guys went in that draft from Miami? McKinney went 1. Here's 1, 2. Jeremy Shockey went. There's 3, 4, 5. There were 5 guys, 6 Miami Hurricanes. 2000. That 2000 team. So 2001 draft. I think that's the draft you're talking. Dan Morgan went. Damian Lewis went. Santana Moss went. Reggie Wayne went. Miami had, in 2 drafts, Miami had 12 first-rounders. Consecutive years. That 2002 team had a bunch of kids that went in the draft. That 3 draft, too. Andre Johnson, Hall of Famer. Jerome McDougal went in the first round. Willis McGahee went in the first round. Willem Joseph went in the first round. So in 3 drafts, Miami had 19 guys drafted in the first round. Wow. That's all Butch Davis, too. On that 2001 team. Get this. That's one of the craziest lines I've ever seen. That 2001 championship team that Miami had, if they didn't score an offensive point, they still would have went 8-4. Because they scored on defense. They would have went 8-4 with no offensive points. Yeah, he was really great. Just thinking of Jerome. Were you at the walkout Penn State dinner in fatigues? So I've told some of you the story. So we're getting ready to do the we had to meet, and this was one of the few times that Penn State and Miami were together. And of course, those dorks wore those white sweats. They wanted to be looked at as the white guys and the white shining armor guys. We are, of course, Jimmy had us in black sweats. Our name was on it. I got a bunch of pictures with me. It got our names on it. Completely black, nothing white. We were dressed in black. So we go to this steak fry. It's in Phoenix. Jerome sitting there, man. He's like, we're getting ready to go up. So what does he do? Underneath the gear, he's got the stuff he walked off the airplane in, the battle fatigues. And so I go, all right, what are you going to say? And he goes, I'm going to talk about the attack on Pearl Harbor. And I went, well, you know who won, right? And he goes, the Americans. I go, no. The Japanese, and this was my mistake. I go like this. I go, no, the Japanese won Pearl Harbor. He goes, no, they didn't. I go, the Japanese won Pearl Harbor. He didn't believe me. I go, dude. He goes, are you sure? I go, the Japanese won Pearl Harbor. We won the war. You don't know this? I don't know if you might want to use this reference. And he goes, no, I got it. I go, okay. And hey, and so Jerome, I'm sitting there and I go, I looked over at Tolbert Bain, Reuben Bain's uncle. And I looked at him, I go, you think he fucks this thing up? And Reuben goes, Big Sills, what do you think? And he had this real deep voice, like a baritone. I go, there's no way he gets this right. There's no way. I'm sitting there, man. I'm watching this. He gets up on stage. Penn State had talked about, they made fun of Jimmy Johnson's hair. Some shit. It was stupid and dorky, and they were all dorks. By the way, I'm very good friends with many of these guys. So I'm watching this. Jerome gets up there. He gets the microphone, and he goes, hey, man, when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, They sit down with the Americans before they attacked. I looked at him. I looked at Tolbert Bay, and I go, why would he reference us? The Japanese lost the war, dude. And he's sitting there going, no, they just attacked. And I'm like, great, we're the Japanese. And I looked, I put my hand on it, and I went, holy shit. In Arizona, where it's like a real big military area, and I'm going like, oh my God, he just compared us to the Japanese. The fucking Japanese lost the war. And I'm going like, I looked over at everyone, and I'm like, he goes, did you see what I go, yeah, you fucking told everyone we're going to lose the war tomorrow night. And we're walking, he goes, no, you told me the Japanese. I go, I told you they won in Pearl Harbor, not won the war. Yeah. He's walking out. He goes, well, you should have stopped me. I go, I tried to. I told you, man. No, you should have said some shit like Iwo Jima or something. And the guy's being like, God dang you. And I'm like, bro, I told you not to fucking say that. Nope. Yep. Dude, I mean, oh my God. There was so many times with shit like that. Oh. Now, my favorite is when Parcells called Sims and said, Philly's getting JB, so be prepared for a lot of pain. That's actually true. Actually true. I know. Hey, listen, in honor of my friend, again, I'm going to take a little time here. Tell you, because a lot of people some of the people haven't heard those stories, but yeah, man. Just a tremendous, today's his birthday. Today is your 8th anniversary of you winning your Super Bowl. And let me tell you, a lot of memories came back today. And like I said, guys, when I was sitting there, and we were sitting in Norman, Oklahoma, and this was after that Oklahoma game, he breaks Aikman's leg. And I'm just sitting there like this. I'm sitting there like this. I'm like this. I played good. And I'm going like this. Jerome sits next to me. He goes, what's the matter? I said, no matter what I do, I will never do it. And I will tell you, I was great at Miami. I was a great player. And no shame saying that. I was a great player at UM. But I knew right there that I would never be that great. I just, you have an epiphany in a moment. You go like this. No matter what I do, no matter how great I'll play. And I had games of 15 tackles and 2 sacks and shit like that. But this guy broke Aikman's legs, 2 sacks, interception, block punt, block field goal, 20 tackles, 8 tackles for losses, fumble recovery. And I'm sitting there in my locker going, you had to be there. It was like a tornado. And I looked at him. He just started laughing. He put his hand on my shoulder and he goes, I go, shut up. And I just sat there and I was like, dude, I'll never in a million years ever be that good. It's just, I've never seen anything like that. It's crazy. And when he got to Philly, the coolest thing for me was when I was coached for 2 weeks of my life by Buddy Ryan. And it was really because of Jerome that I got coached for 2 weeks by, and it made me clearly a better player. I told you guys, Buddy would come down. One year he came down just for me. The year previous, he had come down to talk to Jerome, but they had told him, and he had seen game film on me, and he goes, Sileo, come with me. So for about 2 hours, we sat in a room. Jimmy Johnson was in the back with Butch. And there we are. I'm here. Jerome's here. And Buddy Ryan's in the middle. And we're sitting here like this. And he's got, back then you had like a 0 clicker. You can so he's doing this. He's going back and forth. We must have went over one play 30 times. He's talking about head, hand, placement, talking about foot movement. You see your right foot? You see it was so like, you see your right foot? It's too flat. That's too flat. If you're going to get flat like that against better people, they're going to slip and scoop you. I said, okay. He goes, you got to make that foot a little tighter. So all the things, we're writing notes down, Jerome and I. I'm writing notes down. You're taking too flat a foot on that gap crash. So I would write down too flat a foot on gap crash. Butch is in the back doing the same thing. Butch Davis went on and win 3 Super Bowls. And we're sitting here. Remember, this is the guy who created the 46. So I'm sitting here and I'm writing all this stuff down that Buddy's telling me. He goes, by the way, you see your head up there? You're beat. Before the plays even snapped. What are you thinking? I said, and the coach in the background goes like this. He goes, he's lined up wrong. He looked at me and he goes, that's the dumbest thing you could ever have happen to a player is not knowing the technique. If you don't know the technique, when you get to the NFL, you line up like that, you'll get your face knocked in. 93. If you don't, he called me 93 in the first meeting. He goes, 93. If you don't do line up like that, a guy like Russ Graham will kill you. I said, okay. Because you could do that against these kids in college. You do that in the pros, you get run off the field and put on your back. I told Steve McMichael the same shit. He used to do that because you're a strong man, right? He goes, screw that. I don't give a shit. You're a strong man. Get in the 3 technique. You're lined up in a shade 1. It was so like this. He was talking to me the difference between success and this. Then he came down the following year, and I didn't know why I was there. He came, I'm here for you. And I'm like, okay. So he brought me and Stubbs in the room, and we went and we did the same thing. Dan, you see this? And I was like, oh, Dan. Last year I was 93. Now I'm Dan. Dude, having Buddy Ryan for those 2 weeks coach me. I've been coached by Jimmy, Butch, Buddy Ryan, Tom Landry. I've been coached by some of the greatest. Ray Perkins, whatever you think of Ray. Ray drafted Lawrence Taylor. I've been coached by some of the greatest coaches of all time. And to have him like that, sit there, we 2 hours for 2 hours for 5 days. I had that. I had film session with Buddy Ryan. One week, and then the following year, another week. So 2 weeks of my life, Buddy had me, and he was coaching me for 20 hours. He was showing me how to play the defensive tackle position and 3 technique. And he goes, see, because you're 6'1", because that's going to help you on leverage. But remember, when you get wider, that's going to hurt you in leverage. Why? Because when you're in space like that, size wins. Even if you're strong and you can lift that guy up and throw him back on his ass, he's still going to keep you from getting up. So you got to get penetration. So wide down in that 3 a little more. It was really crazy. Buddy Ryan was a savant, man. He was just a great, great coach. And it was really wonderful to be coached by him. Shows lots of respect for your passion for Jerome. I love the man. He's one of my best friends. I told you how cool the story was when, he came to my grandpa's house and 9:30 at night, he comes to my pop's house. I got Tolbert Bain again. I got Darrell Fullington, and we got Selwyn Brown, and we have Lonzo Highsmith. So we go to my grandpa's house, or they knock on my door at 9:30. I live down in the Cove. It's a this Italian area in Stanford. And my grandfather goes, "Who are these guys?" I said, "It's Jerome Brown." He's like, "What?" "Well, bring him in." And so I go, "Get in here." He goes, "You got any food?" So my grandma sits down, like my wife did, and she brings the meatballs out. I don't know, Jerome made about 10 of them. And everybody, we're eating there. My grandpa goes down and gets all the beers. I don't know, we must have drank 25 beers that night till 3 o'clock in the morning. And my grandfather, these guys leave, and and he goes, "These guys were phenomenal." And I go, "What do you think they came here to do? Steal hubcaps?" And he goes and he's like, no. I go, "What? Because they're black guys in what? Italian neighborhood? What do you think they were going to do?" And he goes, "No, my grandfather loved Jerome." And it was really great. One thing I'll tell you about going to Miami, and I say this to people all the time, it was the greatest lesson in my life on how to live with other cultures. I get down to Miami. Jerome took me around numerous places, Overtown, Liberty City. Here's another great thing that he would do. So we would stop at a park in Overtown. This is like the ghetto. Jerome would open up his trunk, and in the back, he would have shoulder pads, shoes. He'd have food. He'd have money. He would have like footballs. He would have cones, and he would give them to these kids. We did this 3 straight days in the off season. So he goes, Sileo, make sure you wear your jersey. And then he would come to agree. That's when he dropped the line on me. Italian guys don't run that fast. So, okay. So we were handing out all these items to these inner city kids. And this was Jerome doing this out of his own pocket. I'm sure donations. This is where we met Luther Campbell. And we were like at Seabreeze, was a place down in South Florida. And we would do security for like NWA, and Luther would open, and or NWA would open, and then Luther, and then we would work like security. And so I worked security for those guys. It was pretty fun, man. Jerome was a really giving guy. All those communities, he must have given thousands and thousands of dollars away in equipment to kids who didn't have shit or cleats. He used to give cleats away. By the way, he would go around to all our lockers. Because, you know, back then, for some reason, Nike, like in my locker, I tell my daughter this. My daughter's got like, you know, I didn't realize how much cleats cost. So I would have like 40, 50 pairs of cleats in my locker that I never used. So I just packed the boxes up. And I would use like 3 or 4 of them a year. And if I needed them, I'd go into a box. And plus I had shoes. Nike sent me shoes and all kinds of shit. And I would wear them. So Jerome would come over to me and go, hey, how many of them cleats you want to give me? I go, how many do you want? He goes, give me 10 of them. I said, here, take 10. Take different sizes. Take some shoes too, whatever. I don't care. So he would go and he would take all of our, you know, Nike would give him more shit. We'd take more shit. So back then, Nike gave us everything. I mean, guys, if I told you I had 25 pairs of shoes every 6 months, that might be an understatement. They gave us everything because we were always on TV. Always. That was great. I think Milton is going to dominate that old line. I think the Seahawks have a pretty good old line. I do. A lot of people don't know Buddy coached the D-line and linebackers from the Jets at 68 to 75. That's correct. He did. And he won that Super Bowl in 1969 as the Jets. Yeah. Okay, 61. Got you. That's awesome, Sills. Appreciate you guys, man. Okay? Idiots like Bruns call Sills a racist. Some people don't even know. Yeah, Denny. How would they know? They're just internet readers. They don't know me from a can of paint. I mean, how would they know? Right? How would they know? They wouldn't know. I mean, right? How would they? They would never know that. I mean, man, I love my team so much. Even though the struggles, we've had some of the greatest defensive players in history. JB is still great to me. He was Sapp before Sapp. He was better than Sapp. I say this all the time, Denny. Warren Sapp is a great football player. And he's maybe arguably one of the greatest 3-technique pass rushers of all time. But Jerome was better. Reggie was just there's Lawrence Taylor, and then there's Lawrence Taylor and Reggie, and then there's everyone else. Ed Reed's probably right there. It goes Reggie, LT, Ed Reed, and then everyone else. Ed Reed's just a special dude. Seals, would you say are the top 3 all-time college football games is Vince Young that was one of the all-time greatest games. I think the 83 national title we beat upset Nebraska 31-30 is in that conversation. I don't know. I'm partial to our games because they were all like some of the most viewed games of all time. Like I played in the most watched college football game of all time. So I don't know how that's not in there. But Shields, if Clint Hurt would ask you to be his D-line coach, would you do it? No. But if you asked me to be the D-line coach for the University of Miami, I would. Okay? Something different. Mario, I convinced him to leave Oregon, and so did 5 other guys. Phil Knight had the money lined up for him. He didn't want to leave. But we all said this, where are you from? And I said this to Mario. I go, where are you from? He goes, South Florida. Your mother and father were Mario boat lift guys. Right? And he goes, yeah. And I go, okay. So they were Cuban refugees from Castro. He goes, yeah. What are you doing in Oregon when Miami wants you to play? And they're going to pay them more money to come here. And you played there and won 2 national titles. He goes, that's what everyone else is saying. He goes, you think the school's going to back me? I go, make them. You know how you make people do shit? Make them pay you. Seals, you see Derrick Henry trying to recruit A.J. Brown to Baltimore? A.J. Brown for Hamilton, yes, please. Yeah, well, they're not getting rid of Hamilton. So A.J. Brown in Baltimore with Zay Flowers on the other side. Hey, A.J. Brown in Baltimore with Lamar Jackson. Shit. Hey, by the way, I'm convinced AJ's gone. I don't want him gone. I'm 100% against it. But he's gone. No way. And get this. So you mean to tell me the only reason that A.J. Brown is going to stay in Philly is because of money? Yeah, that'll make him happy. Right? The only reason that he's here is because of money. I heard John say that today. The money. He's not wrong. The money's the issue, or he'd have been gone sooner. The money is the issue. And the Eagles, if they get this, if you trade him and don't post-June it, you don't get to pick this year. I think Golden State, dude. I think, I don't think Daryl Morey pulls that deal off. No way. I think he's in Golden State. One last nugget for Steph Curry. I think they send him to Golden State. I think Draymond's in Milwaukee. Draymond Green will go from Golden State to Milwaukee. I think he goes. Money can't buy you happiness. No, but he can buy you peace of mind. He'll buy you peace of mind. See here. Giannis stays. Don't think they're ready to give him up yet. Boy, I'll tell you, I would not in a million years give up on Giannis if I'm Milwaukee. No way. Too bad we have all these geeks covering the team like ESP who doesn't know anything who played before the Andy Reid years. Dude, Philadelphia has had a phenomenal history. And the fan base is sick and great. It's a great fan base. Like I told you earlier, the reason your radio stations are so dominant, it's not your shitty host. It's the fans. You keep regurgitating the same dudes over and over. Guy gets fired, he's there. Guy now goes there, he's over there. They think because he's on a different shift, they're going to be better. No. You know what it is? They're from Philly. They cover Philly. They know the history of the Eagles. And again, That's why you keep regurgitating the same guys. When's the last time? Who was the guy? Josh Innes? Like on the radio side? Isn't he like the last outsider you guys brought in? Was Josh Innes? That's the last guy you guys brought in from somewhere else, right? I can't think of anybody else in the last 10 years that you guys brought in on your radio station. That was from out. The morning guy was in Atlanta forever, but he had covered the Flyers for a long time. So there was a tie there. Most of the guys are either born in Philly or from Philly. Okay. How do you convince AJ to stay? Tell him the offense goes through him now. Tell him it goes through him. NFL does the same shit. Yes. Yes. And NFL does the same stuff. You're so right about. I mean, look, it's the same guys. I'll tell you, I like you. Yeah, get this. He tried recruiting me for Atlanta when he was down there at 680 CNN. They were trying to hire me to do the mornings when I was on in Tampa. They wanted me to come up. They offered me a job at the end of the day, 23rd hour. I go, yeah, I don't think so. Because I was doing like 13 shares in the morning. I had the #1 radio show, ratings-wise, on the East Coast for like 3 years. Nobody had higher ratings. And we were doing very well. And CNN called me. WCNN called me. It was a Cumulus company. They wanted me to do morning drive. And Kincaid and Blue, it was. They had a show there in Atlanta. And they took me out. They took me around. I did a show with them. I did afternoon drive with them. I sat there. I went, and his name was David Dickey. And then I met Lou, I forget his name, from Cumulus, who owned Cumulus at the time. I went in his office. We sat down, and he asked me, he goes, would you like to be the morning drive host in Atlanta? And I said, it was good money. But I was like, yeah, at the end of the day, I think I'm staying where I'm at. Because then the following year, I got syndicated by Premier Radio. And I went to Fox Sports Radio, and I went to Premier in Los Angeles. Kincaid has to have pics of people doing yeah, I've listened to him. I don't get it. I mean, he was better. He was better in Atlanta. I wanted Brian Branch. Brian Branch is a hell of a player. Hell of a player. Shields, you think Garrett retires a Brown? 41 million reasons why I think he does. All right, guys, let me pay some bills here. Our #1 friends at Morgan & Morgan with over $30 billion recovered. Please do me a favor. If you've ever been injured on the job, I'm telling you, I promise you, this family-owned company has been in business for over 25 years. And the reason that they're #1 is because they win. Simple as that. Go to forthepeople.com/big sales or #529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or #529 and do me a favor. You tell them Big Sil sent you.
There's a reason Detective Johnson is the gossip king.
Oh, did you hear? Jackie and Tom
are getting a divorce? Mm-hmm. Sad.
Well, I heard that Ashley
had work done on her face? Yeah, oof.
Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Injured? With over $25 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big.
Bathroom? Okay.
Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Oh, okay.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica, who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Man, Frank Reich takes that Jets job. I mean, you got to think Aaron Glenn is on a respirator there, right? Now, maybe he thinks he becomes the head football coach of the New York Jets if he gets fired. And they don't even have a quarterback yet, right? Who are they going to bring in there? Who are they drafting? Are they going to get Mac Jones? Yet to be seen here what they do in New York and who Frank even coaches. All right. Appreciate you guys very much. Thank you again. Super Bowl, we'll get more into the game also for Sunday, Patriots and Seahawks, 2 to 6 tomorrow. And we'll see you on the flip side.